So after 90?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is okay.
In LA. It's like a
I
hub.
actually think that's
Yeah,
economic empowerment. It's
yeah,
one way to do it.
yeah. Absolutely. Only way, man. He took that strip. Unfortunately, he died in that strip, but he was preaching what he was rapping. And that's what draws a lot of people to Nipsey. He was doing what he was rapping.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's and it was positive.
Yeah.
Crazy,
And
man.
you see his music change too.
You did.
Because once he got the
Yeah.
money, it was, I mean, he was
Yeah. Yeah. He switched it up on him. Yeah.
This should be his the last time we met.
Okay.
I have some extras.
Okay. Yeah, I recommend if you end up going to LA to go down there.
I taught out there.
You did. That's right.
I
Sure
live
enough.
like a mile.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. Well, look, it's a whole store still. He was so. His friends are making money because there's a long strip of people selling their clothes. Yeah,
it's still, is he running?
yeah, he's running it now, all the business and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Good evening. Good evening. I would like to call the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education meeting for April 24th to order. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Here.
Mrs. McConnell? Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Dr. Rankin?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
President Ross?
Here.
We have 6 present. I think Mrs. McConnell was coming online. She's not quite there yet.
Okay. Thank you. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First, I'd like to recognize and honor our 2 schools, bulletin boards, Alaska Hinton Early Childhood Center here, and Knoxville Center for Student Success on this side. They did a wonderful job. Thank you. Okay. Are there any announcements?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, President Ross. It's time to register for summer school. Summer school is a great opportunity for students to learn in small groups with hands-on activities and fun field trips. It is especially beneficial for students who need to get back on track and ready for the next school year. Breakfast, lunch, and transportation are provided. Register for summer school by heading to www.psd150.org/summer. Registration closes on May 12th.
Thank you. Mr. Ross?
Woodruff Career and Technical Center, signing day. Don't miss out on the second annual signing day on Wednesday, May 8th from 10 to 11 a.m. at Woodruff. As a result of successfully finishing their career pathway internships, Woodruff seniors are being offered full-time positions upon graduation. The students will be recognized with a small ceremony followed by light refreshments.
Thank you. Dr. Rankin? You had your hand up. I'll go back.
Oh, you're good, yeah.
Don't have one?
I have two. First one is about SIP Day. Next Wednesday, May 3rd, will be a half day for students. Schools normally ending at 2:30 p.m. will end at 10:30 a.m. Schools normally ending at 3:30 p.m. will end at 11:30 a.m. There is no school for Valeska Hinton students next Wednesday. And then Special Education Family Forum. On Thursday, May 4th, a district-wide family forum will be held at Jameson for parents and guardians of students with IEPs or 504 plans. The forum is from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and will include dinner, breakout sessions, and productive conversation. Contact Michelle Meinders to RSVP or attend the event virtually.
Thank you. Costa?
Good evening. Kindergarten Roundup. Kindergarten Roundup is on Saturday, April the 29th from 10 o'clock a.m. until 1 p.m. at Glen Oak Zoo. Kindergartners must have 2 proofs of address, a certified birth certificate, and an up-to-date immunization record and physical to enroll. Again, that's Saturday, April the 29th.
Thank you. Vice President Murphy?
Thank you. I have 2 announcements. 1, grading period 4 ends. Reminder that the 4th grading period ends on April 28th. Be sure to review Skyward to see where your students' grades stand. Mural unveiling. Join us at 4:30 p.m. on Monday, May 8th for the unveiling of a new mural for the front of the administration building. The mural was created by Peoria High students enrolled in the Preparatory School of the Arts and funded by the founders of Big Picture Peoria.
Thank you. And I have one, Parent University. The Parent University End of the Year Bash or celebration will be held on Thursday, June 1st at the Riverplex Center from 5 to 8 p.m. Come enjoy some educational family fun featuring parent workshops, Zumba classes, a bouncy house, school physicals, community programs, food, and more. So join us on June 1st for Parent University. Thank you. Did you have any announcements? Okay. Awards and recognition. Mr. A.J. Guyton, you want to come up first? Director of Athletics, JV and Varsity Volleyball City Champions. How are you today, sir? Oh, there you are.
I'm good.
Good evening, actually. I'm Blake Johnson, AJ's assistant. Dr. Karat, President Ross, and members of the board, we are here to present the 2023 JV Volleyball City Champions. Starting with the JV winners, the Reservoir Gifted Academy Lady Wildcats. The Wildcats were the tournament's #2 overall seed, finishing the regular season with a division record of 5-0 and the American League champions, and with an overall record of 7-0. The Lady Wildcats defeated the Harold B. Dawson Raiders in 2 sets, both by the score of 25-10. Reservoir played the Lincoln Lady Mustangs in the championship game, winning set 1 25-13 and set 3 15-4. The Lady Wildcats were led by Principal Susan Martin. When I call your name, could you please step up? Head coach and American League Coach of the Year, Mary Gavin. And now for the players, Ella Andall. Some of these young ladies may be missing due to track meet right now, correct? Yep. Tess Cavanna. Macklin Kobich. Lily Dyer. Bonnie Hayes. Addison Jones. Maggie Lee. Kiera Lucky. Purity Mosetti, Zawandi Mosetti, Layla Nelson, Adriana Reynolds, and Ryan Smith. Let's give a big round of applause for your 2023 Junior Varsity Girls Volleyball City Champions, the Reservoir Gifted Lady Wildcats.
Thank you. Are any of the young people that just stood up, any parents present?
Any parents of the JV players, could you please stand?
Thank you.
All right. And now for this year's varsity winner. Again, the Reservoir Gifted Lady Wildcats. The Lady Wildcats were the number 3 overall seed, finished the regular season with a division record of 4-1 and an overall record of 6-1. In the semifinal, the Lady Wildcats defeated the Lincoln Lady Mustangs, winning 2 of 3 sets. Set 1, 25-21, and set 3, 15-4. In the final, the Lady Wildcats defeated the Rolling Acres Lady Cougars in a thriller, winning 2 of 3 sets. Set 1, 25-22, losing set 2, 20-25, but winning the third and final set, 15-9. Here are the rosters for the Lady Wildcats. Again, Principal Susan Martin. Head Coach Mary Gavin. Clementine Stone. Alea Nelton. And once again, some of them may be at their track meet still. Mara McCall. Amira Leverett, excuse me. Kendall Kinsey Kendall. Did you say that wrong? Elena Johnson. Alexis Jaja. Hannah Huff. Kylie Hayes. Ella Hanley. Bria Ewing. Olivia Barksdale. Adriana Reynolds. Maggie Lee. And Tess Cavanna. Molly Swing. Once again, let's give a big round of applause for your 2023 Varsity Volleyball City Champions, the Reservoir Gifted Academy Wildcats. Could we please have the parents of the varsity team please stand?
Hello, I am Coach Gavin at Reservoir. It is my second year for volleyball. I'd first like to thank the school board and Dr. Crott, also Mr. Guyan and Mr. Johnson for all their hard work that they have put in. Honestly, without two of my assistants that are here of the three, Marissa and Sam Campbell. Come on. I have three high schoolers. One is actually at volleyball practice. These are my other two helpers. Without them, it would not be possible with all my crazy ideas that they have to deal with, and they are very helpful with all the girls. I'd also like to thank all of the players and all of the students and all of the parents that have helped throughout getting them to rides and my late practices that we have to have. And Principal Martin for following all my late practices and staying with me through it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me. Volleyball is one of our fastest growing sports. We played all of our games, 70 out of 72 of our games this year. We had to really calculate some numbers to come down to our Final Four. So next year we're looking to increase the games and increase the amount of teams that can be in the championship next year. So that just proves that things are really turning around and growing. Reservoir has been the cream of the crop, and I believe their championship game against Rolling Acres was the best I've seen in the last 3 years. It was real competitive, a lot of well attended. Parents were there screaming and hollering. It was really a great atmosphere, and we really appreciate Ms. Martin and her hard work and her coaches for always being present and being competitive and being the cream of the crop. So, but I'm letting her know they're catching up to you a little bit. So keep up the hard work. But we're excited about where volleyball is headed.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is the young authors. Miss Lindsay Bond. Lindsay Bond.
Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Dr. Karat, and members of the board. We have some outstanding individuals with us here tonight. I am Lindsay Bohm, Curriculum Coordinator, overseeing all things literacy across the district. And I have the privilege this evening of presenting to you the district level winners for our 2023 Young Authors Contest. In February, each of our buildings submitted its top entries per grade level band to the district competition. Manuscripts were read and evaluated by our K-4 and 5-8 literacy advisory councils, both of which include some amazingly dedicated literacy teachers in all of our buildings. These teams determined one winner per grade level and one winner per building across the district, and all of them received a certificate and medal at our reception just before the meeting. But I'm happy now to let them come up and recognize themselves. I'll probably pass the mic. We're going to start just in bands with our kindergarten through second grade winners first, and then we'll pull in our third through fifth, and then our sixth through eighth. So I'll come and I'll hand you the mic, and like we talked about, if you'll introduce yourself and tell us your grade level, and you can even tell us the name of your story if you'd like, okay? Okay. You want to come up here? That way you can see it on TV. Okay, step back a little bit.
Check. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmad Keita, CT Vivian Primary School. That's my school is.
Okay, well, congratulations, Ahmad. Can you tell us the name of your story?
It's about going to space.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. Who's up next? Your name and story?
Culin Boom. Don't know. Kildare
What's your story name?
Giraffe.
Congratulations. Come on up.
My name is Rowan Lawson. I go to Keller School. I'm in first grade.
What's the name of your story?
All about animals.
Congratulations, Rowan.
My name is Yvette, and I go to Lincoln School, and I'm in first grade. My story's name is The Reading Pets.
Congratulations, Yvette. Tell us your name.
Lainey Henderson,
What grade level?
first grade.
And what's your story name?
Lainey makes cupcakes.
Congratulations, Elaney.
Ms. Bohm, can we get
Tell us your name, grade level, and the title of your manuscript.
My name is Belle. I'm in first grade, Whittier Primary School. My story is named Mitzi and Her Family.
Congratulations, Belle.
Ms. Bong? Would you,
My
Bong?
Come in front.
Yeah, so we can see that.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
So the camera can catch them as well.
My name is Nora, and I go to Charter Oak Primary School, and I wrote The Girl Who is Different.
Congratulations, Nora. That wraps up our kindergarten through second grade winners. Congratulations. You all can kind of go out this way to exit. Oh, we have one more. Are you hiding back there? Come up here. What's your name?
Kyson,
Tyson. And what grade level are you?
second,
And what's your title of your book?
All About Bears.
Congratulations, Kyson.
My name is Delilah. I'm in second grade. I go to Elise Fort Allen Academy, and my book name is The Kind Spot.
Congratulations, Delilah. All right. No more kindergarten through second grade hiders back here? Okay, let's bring in our third through fifth grade Young Authors winners. Bear with us, we all had cookies before we came in here, and so we were getting a little antsy in the hallway. So our third through fifth grade are on our way in. Come on in. We're going to bring you right over here. Go ahead and start us out by telling us your name, your grade level, and the title of your book.
My name's River. My book was called The Lucky Stick, and I'm in third grade.
Congratulations, River. You can step back right
What
here.
school was that?
Come right on over here. Everybody can see you. What's your name?
Jane Mubalema,
What's your grade level?
third grade. A book about friendship and making true friends.
Congratulations.
What's the name of the school? Can you tell us what the name of the school is?
Name of the school?
The name of their school.
Yes.
Right. Some of them missed it.
Come on up. Can you tell us your name and grade level and then where you go to school and the name of your book? You want to come over here so they can see you?
My name is Edward Moore, and my school is Dr. Ma A. Sanders Primary School. I'm in third grade. My daddy.
Congratulations, Edward. Next up.
My name is Julia. I'm in third grade. I go to Northmore Primary School, and my book is called The Witch's Light.
Congratulations, Julia. All right.
My name is Francesca Howard, and I go to Charter Oak Primary School, and the name of my book is The Big Mission. Oh, and I'm in fourth grade.
Congratulations. Okay. Is that fourth grade? Fifth grade? Come on in. All the way over here, will you tell us your name, your grade level, where you go to school, and the name of your book?
My name is Giselle Mendez. I go to Liberty Leadership Middle School. I am in fifth grade, and my book is called Heaven Couldn't Wait for You.
Congratulations. Thank you. Come all the way over here, or you can stand at the podium if you want.
Wait, what do I say?
Your name?
My name's Sophia, and, and I'm in 5th grade, and my story is called Grace and the Magic Paintbrush.
And where do you go to school?
Mark Bells.
Okay. Congratulations, Sophia. All right, come on over. You can come to the podium or right next to it. Tell us your name, grade level, where you go to school, and the name of your book.
My name is Ramsey Reed. I'm in 5th grade. I go to Reservoir Gifted Academy, and the name of my story is Royalia.
Congratulations, Ramsey. Come on over. Tell us your name, grade level, where you go to school, and the name of your book.
My name is Jacqueline Martinez. I go to Glen Oak Learning Center, and the name of my story is Hello Kitty Stories.
Congratulations. And did you tell us your grade level? Did I miss it?
5th grade.
5th grade. Congratulations, dear. Okay. 6th grade. Are we ready for our 6th grade winners to come on in? Come on in. Bring your families and your teachers. An outstanding turnout of families and teachers and principals tonight as well. Come on over. You can start us out for 6th grade, okay? Introduce yourself, your grade level. Well, I just told him. Where you go to school and the name of your book.
Hi, my name is Jakai. I'm in 6th grade, and the name of my book is called Friendship Full of Lies and Betrayal.
Where you go to school?
Sterling Middle School.
Okay, do you want to introduce the name of your co-author too who couldn't be here tonight?
Martasia Cotton.
Okay, Martasia helped out on this one too. Congratulations. All right, Antonio, do you remember all the things you have to say? Name, grade level, where you go to school, and the name of your book. Okay.
Hello, my name is Antonio Schwab. I am in 6th grade from Sterling Middle School, and the name of my book is Fiercest of the Land. And I guess that's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Okay.
My name is Connor Jordan. I'm in 7th grade. I go to Rolling Acres Middle School, and my book is Spaces.
Congratulations, Connor. Okay, Kaylin, you remember all that?
Hi, my name is Kaylin Leary. I'm from Rolling Acres, and my book is called Writing Home.
And did you tell us your grade level?
Oh yeah, I'm in 8th grade.
Congratulations. Is that all of our winners? We got K through 8. Nobody's hiding in the back? All right. Okay, and I just once again want to recognize the turnout we had tonight with our students represented. I think we only had 2 who could not make it tonight. Parents, families, little brothers and sisters, and many of our teachers and their principals. So thank you all. We are very excited for our winners and excited for what it says about writing across the district. We had so many outstanding manuscripts this year. Thank you.
We are down to those who exam. Okay. Thank you. Next on our agenda, those who excel. And I'm assuming Dr. Karat is going to do the introduction.
Thank you, President Ross. Good evening, everyone. We have 3 teachers that we're going to recognize this evening under the Those Who Excel category. That means they're exemplary individuals that were recognized by their peers. That information was sent to Illinois State Board of Education, and they came up really, really big. So we'll start off with the 2022 Donald Ferris Excellence in Education Teacher of the Year Award first. And what I've done this year is I've asked Bobby, and actually Bobby has her daughter with her, Meg. I've asked them to come up to introduce the Teacher of the Year. Since I've been back in 2015, Bobby and I have really become close. When I first came back, every year we recognize the Teacher of the Year for the year. And I'll call Bobby and invite her just in recognition of her husband, The Teacher of the Year award is called Don Ferris Excellence in Education. We lost him many years ago. Bobby is still around, and I just to continue to honor his legacy and his dedication and all the things that he's done for PPS. I think it's so nice that Bobby always accepts my offer to come up. So I'm going to actually ask Bobby and Meg to come up. And while she's coming up, I will just share that Donald Ferris worked with Peoria Public Schools. He started in 1966. And then he was the principal at Woodrow Wilson, which is now Maud Sanders, from 67 until 89. It's a long time. And then from 89, 90, 91, he was the executive director of primary schools for PPS. So we're celebrating your husband, we're celebrating your dad with the continued Donald Ferris Education Teacher of the Year. So let's find out who that is. Can we do that? I do have notes for you, just in case you need it.
Well,
We want to know too. I thought Alima sent it. No, that's okay. There it is.
Okay. Why don't you read it, huh?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have macular degeneration, so it's hard for me to read them.
I'm just old and need readers. As a high school math teacher, this person instills a passion in her students when most others can't and brings the best out of them. She is creative with her content, so students click well with her and look forward to her class. This teacher is also an avid coordinator and Interact sponsor for Richwoods High School. Under her leadership, participation and volunteerism has grown tremendously. In Dr. Clarkson's own words, "My passion for teaching mathematics stems from my beliefs that mathematics is a tool for lifelong learning and global citizenship. I hope to show students that the content they are learning has the potential to improve our world. A student in my class today might someday use geometry and trigonometry when designing a new medical device, or they might use statistics to reveal an issue of discrimination within a company. I want my students to understand that when they are armed with a variety of mathematical skills, the possibilities are endless for application to real-world problems." Finally, one of Dr. Clarkson's assistant principals remarked, "As a product of Peoria Public Schools, I was blessed to have been taught by 5 former Donald M. Ferris Award recipients." I have too. As a daughter, I've had teachers that have received this. Each of those teachers had attributes which made them excellent. They were not only masters of content and delivery with highly rigorous expectations of their students, but they were also compassionate, committed, and empathetic. They taught with everything they had. I do not know that I could think of any colleague in my career that personifies all their best qualities better than Dr. Kelsey Clarkson. I am honored to recommend her for the Donald M. Ferris Award. We would like to present this to Dr. Kelsey Clarkson. Not Kelly Clarkson, she's not here. You showed us the way in.
Congratulations, Kelsey. Yes. This award is amazing. It's new this year, and yeah, you're going to love it. So we'd like you to make some remarks as well.
Oh, okay. Just a minute.
Thank you very much. This is a tremendous honor. I've been with the district off and on for the past 10 years. I left for a couple years to get my doctorate and knew that I wanted to immediately come back. Every day here with our students is an honor. And a student asked me a couple weeks ago what advice I have for teachers that want to be recognized like this for their teaching and their commitment to the classroom. And he was writing an article for the newspaper. And I told him that if you want to be recognized in this manner, then you're not in it for the right reasons. Recognition like this is amazing, but it's really just a fire to try harder, work harder, and improve every year. So thank you so much.
Congrats again, Dr. Clarkson, and you're right, and I must say, they had nothing to do with these nominations. They were nominated by their peers, people who recognized that they were going above and beyond and doing a super great job. So you're absolutely correct. The next individual we're going to recognize is actually the Teacher of the Year runner-up. And Ben is not able to be with us today, but I know he's watching. And so this is what his peers and administrators said from Peoria High. There is no teacher in this building and quite possibly the district that has as much positive energy and influence that extends to every student and staff member in the building. He is never seen in a bad mood, and the students are his energizers. He takes it upon himself to greet every student, every staff member he sees with a smile, and is often as loud as the kids when he is joking around with them in the halls. He is their mentor, role model, and motivator. These are all being said by peers. His calm, collected demeanor that is infused with compassion and grace is an integral part of the Peoria High community. Ben Mahan believes in every child and expresses that belief as he puts in relentless effort to see every student succeed academically, socially, emotionally, and athletically. Students know that Mr. Mahan will not hold their past against them, and he is proud to share their progress and their accomplishments with anyone and with them as well. So though he's not with us today, let's give him a round of applause as the Teacher of the Year runner-up, Mr. Ben Mahan. And then final category is Early Career Educator of the Year, Kava Rush. And come on, why don't you start with me? And it's so nice with all of the events. The staff members, teachers are here, the administrators, and I think Ms. Bohm, you mentioned it, parents are here, family members are here. And you know what my favorite part is with the young authors? They're just so cute, they're all dressed up and so cute looking. So Kava, you're awesome. Come closer. Okay. I appreciate you. She always invites me to her class. I've been to her classroom several times, and so I just really appreciate you. So this is what your peers said about you. They talked about relationships. Relationships is what this teacher is all about. She takes every opportunity to learn more about her students. She transforms the daily task, like taking attendance, into a get-to-know-you activity. For example, she'll ask her students a question like, which do you prefer, Cool Ranch or nacho cheese Doritos? And her students will answer the question when she calls their name for attendance. It puts a smile on everyone's face. Kava's persona and patience give students comfort and safety as they become better readers and writers. And I know you're doing a lot with that. Outside the classroom, this teacher supervises the after-school academic lab for kids at her building, Glen Oak. She also teaches the GED program in the evening for parents in the community. Kava is the team leader for the PBIS program at her school. She also leads Black History Month committee, and you invited me. I was part of it. You had an amazing you invited, I think, everybody in town. I saw the mayor there. I saw the police chief there. I saw the whole community at your Black History program, along with your reading buddies program as well. So her peers said, Mrs. Kava Rush is a gift to all who are lucky to know her. Congratulations, Kava Rush, for being named our 2023 Early Career Educator of the Year. Thank you.
Did Ms. Clarkson give one? And Kava, I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for inviting me as
Thank
one of your guests.
It was nice to have you guys. I am not too proud to beg and ask whoever to come show up for the kids, so I will call any and everybody. So thank you, Dr. Karat. Thank you, President Ross and members of the board. I am honored to receive this award and represent all of the excellent teachers at Glen Oak and at Peoria Public Schools. Even though I am the recipient of this award, I am only one of many teachers who excel within this district and within my school. Receiving this award reminds me that students don't need perfect teachers, because if they did, I would never have won. But they need teachers who are present and passionate, who care about the work that they do and the communities they serve. I can say that so many of my colleagues fit this definition and then some. So I thank everyone for acknowledging me, and I encourage all of my fellow teachers to give themselves their flowers as well and acknowledge all the excellent work that they do every day in Peoria Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody want me to come back?
I feel like I've been on the front page of the website like 3 times.
My name is Kevin, by the way. Not Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any family members with you? Yes. Please stand. All right, please stand. Thank you. Okay. Science, next on the agenda is the Science Fair State Competition Qualifiers. Ms. Emily Dawson.
Good evening. I'm Emily Dawson. I'm a special education teacher over at Mark Bills. I also happen to be, of one of the many hats that I wear, is a past president and president-elect of the Illinois Junior Academy of Science. And last fall, I heard that the district might be bringing back science fair, kind of an exposition, things like that in the district. So I hounded Tracy Doneth and my principal to bring science fair back to Peoria Public Schools, or just science exposition, just for the students to share anything and everything that they're doing within their schools. So we tried, for our first year, bringing the Peoria Public School district-wide science exposition, and we were hosting it at Mark Bell's on March 8th. We ended up with one school that entered. We had 36 total projects, almost 100 students involved, and the students either presented in the traditional poster board or they presented in a paper session type presentation on PowerPoint. And then that day that we did the exposition with all the students in the hallways, everybody set up, we had judges from Hanson Professional Services and Alpha Phi Alpha who came to judge all of the students, and we could not have done it without them. So a nice little round of applause for Alpha Phi Alpha. All of the students who participated received either a first, second, or third place certificate based on their scores received by the judges. One of our first 5th grade groups won a special award and a swag bags from Alpha Phi Alpha. The 7th and 8th graders were then considered for additional awards. And 5 of our projects qualified for the Illinois Junior Academy of Science State Exposition that happens next weekend at SIU Carbondale. So they're going to compete in the paper session on Friday with 285 other students, spanning 173 projects. And one project is going to compete on Saturday with just over 1,200 other students from around the state. So I'd like to introduce to you the projects that we are sending to the state competition. And we can recognize our principal first, Mr. Hesh, just so you can come stand in the picture. Our first project is elephant toothpaste with Addison Behringer, Leah Chow, Aaliyah Reyes, and Moriana Reed. You guys can come up. We can all pile up here for one picture. And then we've got Fire Sand Snakes with Vivian Dare, Sanaya Pinnell, and Rihanna Burns. And then we've got GPS use for studying wolves' movements in the ecosystem, Douglas Cox. Are green detergents safer than conventional detergents? Ellen Forknell and Ariana Contreras. And then our final project was Ecosystems and Pollution, who also won the Thermo Fisher Scientific Award, which is a national nomination to enter their project to compete at the national level. And that is Peyton Johnson, Ashley Gonzalez, Liana Harris, and Samaya Gordon. We can all pile in for a picture. Push together. Mr. Hash. I'm short. I gotta be on camera. So I just wanted to thank the district for having the opportunity to be able to do this. And I, of course, volunteered to do it again next year. And we'll try and make it a little bit bigger, possibly during the day is my big idea. So then we've got easier for buses and participation. And then hosting it at Bradley because I worked out some connections. So I got some big things planned. And I just drag you guys all around kicking and screaming along with me, don't I? All right, so I just want to thank the board for supporting these endeavors and supporting science in the classroom. Thank you.
Hi, parents of these students with us tonight?
Yeah, all the parents are here. Turn around.
Dr. Karat has a statement.
Ms. Dawson, I just wanted to thank you for being the champion for this. This is so exciting, and you're right, we need to expand it. I can help with Bradley, I'm on their board, so just let me know when. I would love for you to continue to work with Ms. Donath. We need to get every school participating. It's so much fun. I mean, this is what kids are creating, and they're collaborating, and they're working together, and they're competing locally, nationally. Because, yes. Exactly. So, right. So thank you so much. You've been so passionate, not only with this, but with chess as well. I've seen you in action, but PPS we need that national science fair where kids are creating and designing and competing. Thank you for teeing that off and getting it off the ground. You've done a great, let's give her a nice round of applause, please. All of you, and I was very pleased. Thank you.
We'll be back next week. Love for chess, right?
Thank you. I'll give you a couple of minutes to file out. While we're doing that, the next presentation is the Advantage Communications District Championship. Dr. Jerry Bell,
All right.
Executive Director of Middle Schools.
All right.
And he will introduce our.
Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, school board members, Dr. Karat. Since I last reported to you in February, students in our speech and debate program competed in this past Saturday's district championship tournament at Lincoln K-8 school. When I tell you the students performed wonderfully, my description would not do it justice. Each student showed great poise, confidence in their public speaking skills, and enthusiasm in their respective categories of competition. Just as importantly, the program continued to strengthen students' English fluency
analytical reading and writing, expanded their vocabulary, and of course, their effective oral communication skills. For me, the highlight of the competition was the awards ceremony, during which students and parents received words of continued encouragement from the former World Boxing Organization, WBO, World Heavyweight Boxing Champion, Lamont Brewster. Mr. Brewster and his wife were very complimentary of our speech and debate students and program and of their time here in Peoria. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the hard work and dedication of each of the team's speech teacher coaches and the fantastic work of Advantage Communications local workers, Emily Trader, Raul Ronald, and Mariela Garcia Alvarado, for putting on a very successful championship tournament. Please join me in welcoming to the podium the district speech and debate program director, Ms. Mariela Garcia Alvarado, who will give us a recap of the students' experiences during this past Saturday's championship tournament, which was won, by the way, by Lincoln K-8 School. Ms. Garcia Alvarado.
Dr. Karat, Dr. Bell, President Martha Ross, Vice President Mike Murphy, and Secretary Cami Ross, and board members, thank you so much for having us today. This weekend, we hosted the district championship with former heavyweight world champion Lamont Brewster. In his words, all of us are Power Rangers. What you all are doing to prepare these kids is for the fight of their lives and every fight that they will overcome because of this speech and debate program. And we are. Because while there can only be one first place winner, our students are learning how to set goals, how to celebrate other people's success, and how to accept that even when we put 100% of our effort to reach a benchmark that we want, we might not get the ideal result, like that first place win. But that doesn't mean you didn't improve. That doesn't mean that you didn't work hard to get there or that your effort wasn't enough. All it means is that you didn't win this time, but you can't give up opportunities to continue to see that personal growth. And our students have done just that, even beyond our program. Often, students don't get an opportunity to showcase their academic, public speaking, and acting skills in competitive settings. But in speech and debate, they're able to do that, just that. Students learn how to thrive in an environment that forces them to apply their knowledge from the classroom. Parents and teachers this year have reported that their students have tested into gifted programs in Peoria, have earned invitations to exclusive field trips, and have also become the top accelerated readers at their school. Moreover, some of our students that started off the school year with disciplinary issues began to improve their behavior to remain on the team, because often it's not that the student is having issues, but rather they don't have an opportunity to maybe have that one-on-one attention that they need, and we're able to do that with our coaches. And other times, it's just that they need a stage to show off, and we're able to also provide that for them. Mr. Tinajero also mentioned that students that have been in our program since elementary in our California school districts are now being scouted by college teams in middle school, and we want to be able to do that here with Raleigh University. There's a space for all types of students to thrive in our program, and we're excited to continue to expand it with you all. Former Coach of the Year and winner of the district championship, Amber Powell from Lincoln K-8, wanted to emphasize that in our program, students get a chance to showcase their talent for speaking and performing among their peers and community. And it has allowed students to be able to be proud of themselves and make their community proud of them. And the fourth graders are especially excited to be able to take part of a team and represent their school in a non-sport setting. I also have our winner of the Teacher of the Year Award, Niles Jones, here to also share some words.
Good evening to President Ross, to Dr. Karat, and members of the board. Excuse me because I have laryngitis. In my experience, this is my second year as a teacher coach at Annie Jo Gordon. What I have witnessed is self-confidence in our students, especially with students of color. I've seen them grow in how they present themselves in front of an audience that they may not like or they may not know, and see them flourish within themselves. Additionally, I've also seen them coach each other in what they are needing to improve upon, but then also too highlighting the things that they are improving upon in their speech delivery. Of course, speech is not just standing up there reading a script, but tapping into whom that writer is, whom the intended audience is for, and the emotion that it took to write that speech. And I am seeing that in our students at every championship. So for me, it's the joy of seeing those students flourish in a light that they have never stood in before, and being able to take away their own self-recognition that they can do this and they can go further with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, just last year, we started this program with Halima leading it, and she convinced me to move to Peoria, and it's been the best decision I've made. I cried with her at the last championship because I honestly couldn't have found a better replica of my own hometown in Santa Ana. We definitely look forward to continuing to offer these opportunities, not only for our students in the gifted programs, but also our Spanish community who is working to be bilingual. And from what I've seen, the dual language program is unmatched here in Peoria. We also look forward to working with more 4th to 7th grade teachers to awaken that passion of reading, storytelling, and persuasion. And we look forward to show other advantaged districts and the speech and debate community the powerful messages that our students in Peoria are making with their speeches. This year, we've been able to establish relationship with Bradley and created an internship program to create a pathway for them to serve the community of Peoria, as well as local high school clubs to generate a strong network when our students do graduate. WMBD also sent a reporter to interview attendees and staff from this weekend's tournament, so definitely look out for that in the news. And the buzz is only going to get louder as we enter the next year. Mr. Tinajero and I see a national title in the future of Peoria, and we thank you for helping make that vision into a reality. Thank you.
Do we have a video? Is there a video?
There is a video, if you would like to show our board members the video and our audience.
Thank you so much. Any board members have any comments? All right. Next on the agenda is the district presentation, BH 365 update. Dr. Sandra Wilson.
Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Mr. Murphy, and Superintendent Karat, and members of the board. I'd like to give you an update on the BH 365 implementation. I'm also going to ask our not only all things literacy curriculum coordinator, but also all things social studies as well. And she's been integral in continuing this work. So just to take you back a moment, the Black Contributions Committee was established in 2020 with a mission to develop an integrated curriculum for all students that share the history of Black experiences. And on the right-hand side, you can see the initial members were board member Mrs. Martha Ross, and curriculum coordinator at the time was Lisa Gifford. And then we had K-8 staff, and they are listed, as well as community members and a parent representative as well. So moving forward, our current BH365 Advisory Committee is also led by our board member, Mrs. Martha Ross, and I take the role of the district administrator. And also we have teachers that are from various schools, K-8, K-4, Knoxville, and a 5-8 building, as well as community members and a parent. So we have mapped out an implementation timeline just as a review. So in the school year 21-22, BH365, Part 1, high school course was added. Then in the following year, 2022-23, the BH365 Part 2 high school course was added as well. Also, in the year 22-23 school year, there was a BH365 supplemental resource that was added for middle school grades 5 through 8, and Lindsay's going to talk a little bit more about that integration. And also this spring, we are developing a curriculum guide and assessments for Part 1 and Part 2. That was not the original work, and so we have added that to ensure that there's fidelity of implementation. So those guides and assessments are being developed as we speak. So looking ahead in 23-24, BH365 Part 3 and Part 4, we will develop curriculum guides for consistency of practice as well as common assessments. Also, I'm looking forward to a BH365 kindergarten resource purchase to align with an equity framework that, once again, I'll have Lindsay talk about the work in the primary level. So moving forward ahead in 24-25, we will implement the BH365 Part 3 and add that high school course, as well as the primary grades, the 3-4 teacher committee will be formed to discuss implementation if the current content is ready to go. And then for 25-26, BH365 Part 4 will complete the 4-part series of the high school courses. So just as a recap, right away what's going on is we had BH365 Part 1 and Part 2 is fully implemented. And as part of the implementation, our teachers are trained, the staff members of BH365 train our staff members. In year 1, there was a heavy coaching piece as well, but now we just have summer training for those that are new to the course. Also, as I spoke earlier, the curriculum guide and assessments are being developed for Part 1 and Part 2. Those should be completed by the summer of 2023, ready to go for next year, as well as Part 3 and Part 4 curriculum guide development for consistency. So I'll let Lindsay talk a little bit about Voices from the High School.
Yes, and I have to say that the value add of being kind of a part of this as I've come into the district is that I've gotten a chance to get to know and work with some amazing teachers, some of whom were willing to come in tonight and talk a little bit about their experiences in being kind of the first to implement BH365 Parts 1 and 2. We have a representative from each of the three, Richwoods, Manual, and Peoria High, to talk a little bit about BH365 and their experiences. So I'll start with Mr. Dwayne Phillips. He is at Manual. You want to come on up?
Thank you. Good evening. Dwayne Phillips. I've been at Manual for about 6 years. Oh, sorry. Respect to Board, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Dr. Karat. Got a prepared statement. Purpose of BH 365 is connected to the same ideals behind Black history itself that was created by Dr. Carter G. Woodson to try to alleviate the ignorance about people of color and show the true nature of their achievement and place in history. Black History 365 does have a focus on the achievement of people of African descent, but it is in conjunction with world history and how Africa hasn't been at the center of it since before the Common Era. Unfortunately, many people have a false narrative about Black history that only revolves, around the Civil Rights era and the people involved therein. That is not to marginalize the achievements of those people, but is not the whole story. It is only a fragment historically speaking. Students of history should realize that the achievements of ancient African civilizations are paramount to the development of human civilization, not just African civilization. Those that are unaware, the course is designed right now in 2 parts, been said. BH1 starts in ancient Africa and deals with the tribes like the Bantu and civilizations like Ghana, Mali, Songhai, and Western Africa. We then transition to Moorish exploration in Europe, Egypt, Carthage and the Punic Wars, and to the transatlantic slave trade. We end Civil War. Part 2 starts where Part 1 left off. It starts with the U.S. Civil War and Reconstruction. Then there's a transition to post-Reconstruction life for the people of color, the impact of armed forces on people of color, Jim Crow and the legislation that enabled it, and we spend quite some time in the Civil Rights era. We end transitioning into the 1980s, 1990s. While I wish we could cover the entire scope of the book, our time's limited right now. My goal as an educator is trying to enable my students to be informed about the world around them and give them some autonomy over making their own decisions based on the knowledge they have gained. I love it if all my students had the same passion for history that I do, but that's not realistic. What is realistic is that my students can come to have a greater understanding of the world around them and start to use the study of BH 365 and history as an academic discipline to recognize patterns in it and hopefully to try to correct some of those same mistakes that have been repeated for quite some time. Again, my students, a lot of them come and all they see is their zip code around them. And I want them to know that there's a big world out there and people who look like them have been building it for a long time. My own experience with Black history, again, I grew up with the big 3, Dr. King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. My Black history knowledge did not come from a classroom. I believe that's what we're trying to remedy. So hopefully I can continue. I brought a copy of the book. I didn't know if anybody had ever seen it before. It's interactive, it has QR codes so kids can actually use their cell phones in class for a positive reason, which has helped in my classroom experience anyway. Again, I hope to continue teaching and hopefully try to enable some young minds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Phillips. And next, I'm going to call up Dr. Andrew Davis, who is a BH 365 teacher at Peoria High School.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for extending the invitation for me to come here. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I had the opportunity last year to teach year 1 of the Black History course. And this year I'm teaching year 2. I'm the only teacher at Peoria High School that is teaching year 2. We have several teachers teaching year 1. I have 3 sections, so probably around 75 or so students. I would say maybe 80 to 90% of them are African Americans. As Dwayne was saying, the year 2, I started right off with kind of finishing up the Civil War and talking about, we spent about a month on Reconstruction, which what's fun for me is I tell the kids all the time, I'm learning so much teaching this course because these are oftentimes topics and units that just don't get covered. Maybe one day of Reconstruction. I also teach AP United States History, so things that maybe would be covered in maybe 1 or 2 days in that course, like Reconstruction, I could spend 4 or 5 weeks on. So I had to come up with material to teach about. I did use the book as a guide. It is slightly problematic since there's no index, so it makes it difficult, but there is an online version of the text that you can do searches. Most of the students and I don't know if this is your experience also, but I find that they are great with their phones, but oftentimes when it's I always use the phrase when it's like a research cool kind of thing, they kind of would prefer doing other things like, TikTok and Instagram, things like that. So when I say there's an online version of the book, that's kind of the reaction I get right there. Like, I'll get right on it. So the book has, I found it to be more as a guide, I guess. Some of the teaching, I'm really excited to find out that there's a kind of a teaching manual in the works, or some assessments and things like that. That's been a little bit challenging, just in that I do teach AP World History and AP US History, and it will be nice to be able to have some of those materials to where I can not have to write all of my own assessments and activities and things like that. So I'm excited to hear that. I will say that my experience has been with the students very positive. I did ask if any of them could come in tonight and speak. I had several maybes, and then when they found out when I said, "Could you be there around 7?" They kind of went, "Oh man." A lot of them work, and we had a track meet tonight also. So I have mostly sophomores in the year 2 class, and they, I did ask them. I said, "Is there a message I can take?" And I had one student raise her hand and say, "I just tell them it's my favorite class." So I think that's where something the students, like I said, I really just feel that. I think maybe this is your experience also, and Alex, maybe as well, that we're able to talk about things historically that I don't normally get to talk about in regular U.S. history classes, and the students really appreciate that from the readings that we can do. Last year I did a whole month on critical race theory because I didn't know what it was, and the students found that kind of thing to be fascinating. I told Dr. Coleman, I'm teaching a unit on critical race theory, and she said, "That's great." And I felt good about doing that. Some states, that's illegal to do that. So I think we're really privileged to be here at District 150. I thank you guys for creating this course. I'm going to be teaching the Advanced Placement Black History class that is going to be piloted in the next school year. So I am curious how those classes will be kind of blended in the same department, similar courses, but I know we can pull it off. So thank you for allowing me to come and talk tonight.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis. And I can attest to, if I say anything, I can promise that the students in their classes love the class as much because of the people who teach it. Both Mr. Phillips and Dr. Davis are amazing. Last but certainly not least, I'm going to call up Alex Robinson, who is actually the department chair for social studies at Richwoods. Her teacher representatives were unable to be here tonight, but she does have a few things to share from the Richwoods perspective.
Okay, thank you, school board, for letting us come and talk about this tonight. The teacher that I wanted to come, he has taught BH 365 since we implemented it into our district, and he really wanted to come, but they had a field trip today. So I asked him and the other teacher who teach the course to kind of help put together a narrative for me to read. So kind of taken what they've said and combined it here. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak. One teacher who I collaborated with, so Jason Clark, he teaches in the social studies department at Richwoods. He said for the 2016-2017 school year, he was assigned to teach American Justice and African American history. Being new to teaching the class, he decided to try and present his students with as many Black voices as possible. He had recently read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, and this book seemed like a good way to offer a Black voice in our approach to studying the American justice system. He also found a PBS docuseries produced and narrated by Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. called The African Americans, Many Rivers to Cross. With these resources, he began his journey of teaching American justice and African American history, which continued through the 2020-2021 school year. During this time, his classes were a fairly balanced mix of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. The 5 years of teaching these classes in this way with wide range of kids, he says, was a truly humbling and rewarding experience. For 2021-2022 school year, the district switched from the American Justice, African American History structure to the Black History 365 textbook. He said the book did expose him to people, events, and topics that he was not previously aware of, but he quickly felt like it was not the best in-class student resource. Throughout the book, it references and quotes history.com as a source. He says, I do not have a problem with history.com. I use it sometimes for shorter, more readable articles about different topics, but it seems really odd and maybe inappropriate to him for a textbook to reference it as a source, as other textbooks have more sources when gathering evidence. Another struggle that he said with the textbook is that it has a lot of information about lots of different topics, but it lacks a cohesive narrative that guides students through all of the important information and topics. He said, every textbook I've encountered has lots of side sections that highlight in more detail a specific topic or person. However, all of those textbooks also have clearly identifiable main text that can easily be followed through to the end of the section and chapter. The BH365 textbook also has lots of side sections that highlight important people, issues, and events. However, it does not have that easily identifiable main text that brings students through the section and chapter. Typically, textbooks are reviewed by teachers and they get input on what textbook to use because of their experience. For example, the sociology textbook that we just purchased, teachers were able to view multiple books and were asked to create a 4-quarter KUD plan before it could be purchased. Again, with the new financial literacy class next year is being completely structured by a panel of educators that helps give a preview as to what is to come. Another teacher said one struggle with the BH365 textbook is that the QR codes are one of the main selling points of the book, but she found that they frequently do not work. If I find a good resource to use in the class from the textbook, I'd be happy to use it. The issue with this is that I found that these links often do not work or they go to the wrong source. Going along with those inaccuracies, I find that there's information that is historically incorrect. For example, the textbook claims that Harriet Tubman wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin instead of Harriet Beecher Stowe. While some students might be able to realize that this is incorrect, the vast majority of students would not argue with what the textbook says. In short, we are thankful and humbled by the opportunities to teach this class. I don't want that message to be misconstrued. We are proud to teach African American history and Black history. We're glad our district is implementing it and that with the movements that were taking place, we jumped 2 feet first, ready to teach our kids and bring it more into a modern curriculum. But some of our teachers feel that the BH365 book is best used as a supplemental resource rather than a main text. I know that the teacher that's going to teach the AP Black History class next year is looking forward to those resources because she also teaches BH365 and would love to have that additional resource. Thank you for allowing this opportunity for our thoughts and reflections to be heard regarding this class. Our kids are number one, and we're very happy to be here for them and want them to get the best education. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also, we have a couple students who are not here this evening, but we had an opportunity to videotape them. So if we could hear the student voices from Richwoods High School.
Richwoods Emmanuel. One from Richwoods, one from Emmanuel.
I'm Talaya, and I am in 9th grade, and I take BH365 to learn about the deeper insight and the deeper and better, more details about the different Black historians before us, like Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, and more that most people don't know about. We learn about more about their story and their lives, and not just what most people know, and we have a deeper perspective and deeper meaning and learning to what we learned in class. We also learn about like new individuals that most people have never heard of before, and about their lives and what they've done to impact us now.
Okay, so I'm Ken Lorby. I'm a 9th grader here, freshman. So I took this course, BH 365, expecting Black history, but I kind of just took it just to have a better understanding of what has happened in the past and get a deeper understanding of what other history classes might have not gotten into. So, yeah.
Would you say it's been pretty interesting so far?
Yeah,
Have you learned
definitely
things that you
has.
didn't know?
Like, I learned so many more people that I haven't learned before. There's more stuff. There's people I know, but I didn't know everything about that person. So yeah, you learn the interesting stuff in that class.
Great. Would you recommend it to someone coming in in their freshman year or sophomore
Yeah,
year?
definitely. I think it's a great class to take if you want to get a better understanding and what happened.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking next at the enrollment. So for high school, since we've started, we've increased from 434 students who are, there you go, thank you, who are impacted to 609 students. So we have the numbers there for the high schools. Moving into the middle school update, as I mentioned, in the summer of 2022, all middle school teachers were invited to revise the scope and sequence guides for middle school social studies to intentionally integrate BH 365 topics with the HMH resources purchased in 2021. A committee of 7 middle school teachers representing 6 schools completed the work. The work was all 5th through 8th grade social studies teachers also attended the textbook facilitator training in late July, or if they missed that one, on August 1st, Institute Day, so that they were well trained to integrate the curriculum. The BH 365 content for middle schools integrated in social studies as designed by grades 5 through 8. There was a pacing guide that was developed by teachers for each grade to make sure that there's fidelity of implementation.
Just kind of an overview of the way that BH 365 is structured for the middle grades is that they kind of have by topic and by grade level. They are thinner textbooks meant to be a supplement to whatever social studies curriculum one is using. So in 5th grade, the topic then, or the focus, is African Americans and the arts throughout history. In 6th grade, it's modern day Africa. 7th and 8th grade kind of spans similar to the high school text, the Black influence starting from ancient Africa to modern times in 7th grade, and then moving on in 8th grade to the Black experience in America, which is more modern day history. I had an opportunity to work with one of our teachers, middle school teachers, who implemented BH 365 this year. She was very excited. She has both 5th and 6th grade students. One of the projects that she created kind of as a springboard from the content is in the 5th grade was this is the topic, that's the African American and in the arts throughout history, is that students had to choose 3 African American artists from 3 different time periods. One had to be a performing artist, one visual, and one literary. And in groups, they worked together to do the research and then present out to their classmates with 1 slide per artist, and then they kind of had that class discussion so that by the time all students finished, they learned about several new artists that they may not have been, like several of our teachers have said. We all know the ones that we all know about, but these are the names that they had heard for the first time. Another project then that was completed by 6th grade teams. The 6th grade content is modern day Africa. And so it really dives into some critical issues that Africa faces today. The one that you see on the screen, this group of students chose poverty. And so they were asked to present that critical issue twofold. And one was they had to do something informational, where they just had to give an overview of the issue itself and kind of describe it. And the next piece was they had to do a persuasive, or I guess an argumentative, where they had to convince others or suggest ways that middle school students could be a part of the solution. So this is just an example of one of the poverty in Africa, where this group created a brochure. And this slide is kind of just that trifold poster. This is the government corruption issue that this group chose. And so again, they had to put out the information on the critical issue and then also put a persuasive piece in on the action that even students could take. middle school implementation. Okay, I was go ahead. This is pretty simple. It's up there, just like the number of students impacted our middle school levels, grades 5 through 8, looking at enrollment for 22-23, and then looking into next year, it just again reflects the enrollment for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders because all students take social studies and therefore do experience the BH365. Okay, so primary school is our next wave of implementation. I'll kind of start out by saying I know Dr. Wilson referenced that equity framework early on when she gave the implementation overview. My colleague Amanda Brown and I had the opportunity in January to attend a comprehensive literacy conference where we got to see Goldie Muhammad speak. She was one of the keynote speakers, outstanding. And she's worked on this framework really that has to do with the Hill framework. And so it takes literature that is culturally responsive, that represents the students in front of us, and really dives into the different pieces, and teachers have to create lesson plans on how this is going to promote identity, which academic skills are included. The intellect is really what you want them to learn from it, that content. Their criticality is thinking about things from a critical lens. Does this best represent? And then joy. It's just bringing joy into everything that they do. And so we've worked with some teachers to kind of pilot that right now in the elementary school, and we're looking forward to the BH365 resources. I know kindergarten has some trade books out that we can implement that and make that be a part of it as well. We have 2 teachers piloting now, and the plan is to bring teams together to kind of create some of these units and find out how we can curate these collections so that we can implement this in our interactive read aloud component in the fall for all of our K-4 teachers. So then our primary schools to be impacted would be, again, just reflecting the enrollments of kindergarten through 4th grade in 23-24, and then the next year, 24-25. And it just indicates I've seen the kindergarten trade book series that is out now. It's kind of hot off the press. 3rd and 4th grade has been developed, and I believe grades 1 and 2 are still in the works to be finalized. Okay, I think that's it. Dr. Wilson, do you have anything else?
Thank you for the opportunity for us to give you an update of the implementation. As you can see, there's still work to be done, and we're on a journey to make sure that this is implemented with fidelity and making sure that our students have opportunities to be exposed to culturally relevant conversations, topics, and curriculum. So thank you for your time and attention. If there's other questions or anything else, we'd be happy to answer.
Ms. Gostick? Your mic is not on.
I think it was Mr. Phillips. Did you say that there were between 85 and 90 students that are taking BH 365? Or was that Dr. Davis?
Year 2, I probably got around 80.
And Mr. Phillips, what about over at PHS?
He said
Manual. I'm sorry, Manual.
And that's just year 2. There's probably.
Well, PH1 is mostly freshmen, some sophomores.
Uh-huh.
And I have 3 sections of BH1 and 3 sections of BH2. So that's pretty even split. I think I have over 100 students total. So we're all taking it. And next year, I think I'm also supposed to be trained for AD. So I'll have, it's a rough draft of the schedule, but I have 1 AP. Then I think I've lost one of my BH2s, got 2, and then 3 sections of BH1.
So, Dr. Davis, Peoria High. Okay. I guess I'm a little concerned for the low numbers of students that are taking Black History 365.
Year 2.
For
As far as I know, last year we probably maybe like 300 students. For almost all 9th graders.
Mm-hmm.
So of that group, it comes down to like electives and graduation requirements, social studies credits you need, things like that. think when it came to year two, I guess I had to make that decision. And I was not part of any of these conversations. Thinking that, I don't know why, I'm the only teacher that is teaching this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the only person teaching Black history. I have parts 1 and part 2. And this kind of feedback on what Dr. Davis was saying. It's a requirement that students have to take U.S. history. There's a year they have to take economics and then American government. So it's kind of tough to fit the curriculum in. That's one of the kind of problematic elements we had, trying to get students to get there. And then a lot of freshmen, they were taking government geography. So trying to get those students in and also make sure they hit the requirements of U.S. history. Also, senior year, they had econ and African government. So it's tough trying to get those kids in. That's why I think the numbers might be skewed.
Okay, and the second question that I had is that when we approved Black History 365, we did it for a 4-year program, 4 years. So we did 21, 22, 22, 23. We're skipping 23, 24, and then in 24, 25, we're going back to it. So the program that is going to be implemented 23, 24, is that like a overlapping program of Black history and the program that is being implemented? Because what I looked at, what I was looking at, was just kind of trying to figure out the information that was in Black History 365, and if any of the topics that are going to be covered in this new program kind of, they overlapped, kind of saying the same thing. So I just want to know what the differences are.
Dr. Wilson, Michelle, take her back to the timeline, please. I think that will help everybody, and it will help the teachers as well.
She's talking about this new thing that she brought in.
The timeline will share. Ask Michelle to take it to the timeline.
I understand the timeline.
No, we don't need the timeline.
I don't need the timeline. I understand the timeline. I'm asking about the content.
Can you repeat the question about the content? I
Okay,
didn't get it, I'm sorry.
The information, is there some information that's like overlapping the Black History 365 content? So I'm asking, the program that is going to be taking place for 23, 24, when we're not doing part 3 of Black History 365, what is the difference in these two? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, thanks. I'll give it a try, and then you guys can pick up. So you're asking, so we have,
Why don't we just let Dr.
yeah,
Wilson answer?
so what happened, it's not a program. The third year, you're asking about the third year, right? Why is it being suspended?
Yes.
Is that what you're, okay. So you can, Ms. Ross, President Ross wants you to answer that question.
Sure. As was mentioned with the teachers talking, that we took just a pause year. Nothing's being suspended. It is a pause because as we heard, voices from the high school teachers that are implementing this needed a curriculum guide and an anchor by which that we have common standards that everyone is participating in and providing experiences for students. Without that, we have all kinds of things happening in classrooms, not necessarily bad things by any means, but we want to make sure that the fidelity of the implementation of the course, the book is split into 4 parts. So BH 365-1 is the first quarter of the book, and then the second part is the second quarter. But because of some of the things that I think Alex brought forward, we needed to pause, develop the curriculum guide, develop the assessments so that we could make sure that there was fidelity of implementation, as well as developing the curriculum guides and the assessments for part 3 and part 4, so that when we do move into that it's a smoother transition for our students, because we have a variety of teachers teaching it. It seems like Manuel, Dwayne, has taken that and and enjoyed it. He was at the get-go and loved it and wanted to take part 2 in this additional one. Sometimes different teachers teach it for a variety of reasons. And so if there's a common curriculum guide, that's one of the main reasons why we're just pausing it, because that wasn't developed when we purchased the resource. And we want to make sure that it's a complete package. So that's just a pause, and then we'll move back into implementing part 3 and then part 4 as well. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
That helps you? It doesn't help me. Go ahead.
Sort of.
I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you to the teachers who came up and spoke about it. Sometimes it's really easy to come before the board and talk about all the great things, but especially the teachers at Richwoods who weren't able to be here, but that you got to share their insights. I know that that's tough, but I appreciate it. And I think that what you just described, Dr. Wilson, is the logical next step, to say, like, okay, let's pause. We realize that the textbook may have some errors in it, and that we may not all be using it in the same way as a textbook and or as an extra, a supplemental. And so let's develop this, basically a scope and sequence for the curriculum map. But I just want to shout out the teachers who came up, but especially the Richwoods kind of teachers who helped us shine a light and helped us see that it is a great curriculum, but there are things that do need to be addressed. So thank you for that.
And President Ross, quickly, I have to say, I have seen Mr. Phillips in action, and I've seen Dr. Davis in action, and it's amazing. And I've seen them on several occasions. So I wanted to thank you also for picking BA 365 and being passionate about it. And both of you have done an awesome job with it over the years. So thank you. And we'll continue to get that universal guide that's needed to not only the curriculum guide, but the assessment as well, to make your life a little better. Thanks.
So I have a question for you, Dr. Wilson. Are you saying that the BH 365 did not come with a curriculum guide? Is that what you're saying?
No, just a textbook
and
QR codes and additional online resources.
And you're saying that, there was a massive training. I'm saying this because we spent an awful lot of money for this curriculum. And by the way, there were educators on the committee that actually looked at all this. It wasn't just individuals in the community. There were educators on the committee.
For sure.
And it
They're
did come with teacher guides, and because we reviewed all this information. Teacher guides and, I don't know, you call it curriculum guides. Is that the same thing as a teacher guide?
I can speak to when I came into it anyway. There's a
came
teacher
in like way behind everybody else.
There is a teacher guide that comes with the BH 365 high school textbook that kind of just walks teachers through, again, guiding through the implementation if you were to teach it from cover to cover. When we develop curriculum guides for our other courses, we kind of look at our standards first. What are our learning standards? And that is kind of that anchor. And then how we're going to ensure that we, address all of our learning standards to the levels of rigor we're looking for. So we start with that, and then we take the resources and plug them in as they fit, really hitting hard some things in more depth and taking some things out that aren't as relevant. So we start usually with the guides, but you're right, there is a teacher resource that comes with the textbook. It's just that guide had not been developed, at least when I came in anyway.
Well, it was developed before we got the textbooks. It all came together because, but I'm saying that we spent an awful lot of money on this curriculum, and it was voted on by the board. And again, the committee was including educators as well. And my question is, whatever you're going to do for this third year, whatever you say you're going to do for the third year, did that come to the board at all? Because it was a board directive for the Black History.
So the board voted on the adoption of the textbook and that there would be 4-part implementation.
Correct.
And so we have part 1 that's implemented, we have part 2 that's implemented. We're pausing to develop the curriculum guides, and then we are moving forward with implementing part 3 and part 4 as was directed.
But you're missing a year. So the young people that started in 9th grade took the part 1, 10th grade part 2, 11th grade's supposed to be part 3. So what about those students that want to continue? It is an elective. What about those students that want to do part 3? I'm told by many students that they love the program and they've learned a lot, but they're being encouraged not to take it because they're told that you now have an AP class, which Black History 365 in some schools is an AP class. So you now have an AP class that's better for them, they're saying. And but you only have 46 students that signed up for the AP. What about all the other students we talked about here that would like to have it as an elective? I don't understand how you can just forget about the students, because that's why we're here. The only reason we're here is because of the students.
Absolutely. Right. And I think that the part 3 will be available for those students. They could take it their junior, senior year, depending on when they took BH 365. Some students, we don't require them to take part 1, then part 2. There might be some students
No,
that
it's
didn't.
an elective. I understand.
Right, that didn't choose to take part 1, but they want to jump in at part 2, and we've had some students like that. And so as students get older, they have more and more electives to consider, as well as BH 365 is within the social studies arena. It can be an elective, but it can also be one of the social studies. They can choose to make this one of their social studies credits. But by doing that, then they eliminate other options of social studies. So again, we require 3 years. So one of the BH 365s could be an elective for that, and that would be phenomenal. Some of our students choose electives in other disciplines, fine arts, foreign language. And so really it's a choice. We want to make it available, and for students that want it, we want to make sure
So
that
are you
it's
saying
there.
it's going to be available this coming year for those students that want it for the 3rd year?
The BH 365
Yes.
will not be ready this next year.
It's already ready. You have the curriculum. You have 4 years of curriculum.
We do have a textbook, right? Right, we do.
I'm not understanding why it wouldn't be ready as an elective.
What I spoke about earlier is the same, and as Dr. Rankin also mentioned, it's about developing the curriculum guide with fidelity so that it's a strong course for our students. And right now, it's differentiated across the district in a variety of ways. When we develop curriculum, we use teachers that develop a guide that aligns the work with standards, our Illinois Learning Standards. And so short of that, it is a resource that can be used however. And we want to bring it close so that it's developed and it's implemented with the way that it was intended. And so it's simply a better opportunity to have a richer course that's more in-depth to ensure fidelity for all of our students, regardless of what building they're in and regardless of what teacher that they have.
But I'm asking, what about the students that are not going to be able to take an AP class? You're saying the AP class is something African-American, African-American history. So what about those other students?
They can choose other electives that they would like to take.
I mean, as it relates to Black history. And then what about the money that we spent on this curriculum?
We still have our textbooks, and we will implement BH 365, 3, and 4.
And the textbooks are still being used, right? So
Yes.
here's the thing, team. I mean, I'll be as gentle as possible with the committee that, when the presentation was given, we need to add a step. There was an important step that we missed, to be honest with you. So really right now what we're doing is taking time to insert that step, and we have to simplify this entire presentation. Okay, I'll just be honest. If you go back to the committee, there are no high school teachers on that committee. Okay, so you heard from Richwoods, for example. I mean, we'll just put it out there. So I'm proud of the numbers. You saw the impact on the primary schools. You saw the impact on the middle schools. High schools, we have to tighten it up so that we can work together as a team to get more kids taking advantage of it. But we have to have that curriculum guide that's missing. That is like a given when any new curriculum is adopted. And I think that's what they're trying to say very nicely. We're getting there, we're pushing through, it's going to only get better, but we need to get that important document that the teachers have to create, right? So that there is that buy-in, and then we can keep plugging away. So, Ms. Ross, you and the committee have done a great job, but there's a piece that we noticed that we need. It's not the teacher guide, it's very, very different. It's a very different document, and it's created by the teachers, and that's what's needed. So we're saying we need to take this time, this upcoming time, to develop that nicely, and then continue plugging away, because part 1 is going on, part 2 is going on, and so forth. So hopefully that helps.
It does not.
Yeah. Oh.
You have a question? Go ahead.
Of course.
Okay, let me ask
Mr. Wilson.
this question. At what time did you all realize that BH 365 needed some tweaking? When did that all come about?
The very first day
I would say,
I reported it to you.
yeah, that we need tweaking, I would say the first year. Yeah. So last year, the first year, when we implement, we do listen to teachers and we try to support what they are saying because they're in the classroom with our students. And so we got a lot of feedback on what you heard tonight, and that's why we paused to make sure that it was the best it could possibly be.
I'm
So
not trying
as
to be
they move
argumentative
through-
or anything. The only thing is I'm not trying to be argumentative. Okay, the thing I don't understand, it just seems that Dr. Davis and Mr. Phillips are the two instructors that are teaching BH 365 and seem to enjoy it. The negative is your RHS, your Richwood School. So
Which ones are you listening?
I guess I'm trying to figure out, do either of you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but was it an issue with you all teaching it?
I guess for me, I mean, I'm in agreement with a lot of what the teachers are saying about QR codes. Sometimes things are broken or they're blocked. There's a lot of violence, as you know, looking at I think it's probably second quarter of first year, is largely about slavery and slave trade. A lot of those QR codes are actually blocked. Things like that are problematic. I guess for me, the supplemental teacher material, it's good material for planning, but kind of, if I compare it to what, for example, the College Board puts out for my AP courses, they have ready-made, like, I can go to the College Board and they'll say, when you're teaching this topic, use this handout, or give this reading and ask these questions, and I can print it, and I can teach that lesson. Whereas with this material, it's really, literally, when you look at the teacher's manual, it'll say things like, it will have almost exactly what's from the textbook page. The directions are literally things like, they'll say, write a reading guide for this chapter. And it's kind of like, it would be a reading guide, like other publishers. And I think that's what the original frustration is. For myself, I've been teaching a long time. AP classes. I'm a reader for ETS every Sunday for the AP geography course. I spend a lot of time with the teaching social studies. I agree that this is a great course, but I'm also really comfortable with going in and teaching subjects because I have been teaching it for a long time. So I kind of know what I do want to teach when it comes to American history. I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity. I did not know that there was a pause in that. So this really is a chance, as Dr. Croft was saying, for teachers to teaching his courses. We've met a couple of times this year, but it would be great to have a common assessment that we both worked on, because the textbook materials, as good as they are for guiding what I do, it would be great ideas to how to teach.
It sounds like.
Things that I never would have come up with. But that piece of when you're really busy, you've got grading and planning and coaching and things like that. It would be really great to have more of a materials that are ready-made. They're going to be ready-made, so we're going to make them. It's hard to do it on the spot. When you open the teaching manual, it just says, now here's what you can write how and have it do. It would be great if it's already.
Just piggyback off what Dr. Davis is saying, respect the board. I wasn't trying to get on the same kind of issues that Rich Woods had. Basically, when I started DH 365 last year, I ran into some of the same issues. It's very difficult to try to get students who have very low knowledge about Dr. Davis's class, but most of my students didn't even know where Africa was on the map. And unfortunately, a lot of people think that Africa is monolithic. That's one of the first things I had to try to disconnect and say, Africa is a lot of different places with different languages and cultures and philosophies. One of the biggest problems I personally have, again, I can speak for Rich Woods or Dr. Davis, was vocabulary. That's one of the big things I was trying to tackle, and I talked with Bob about that. Still, concepts like neocolonialism, imperialism, things like that, and most of the students, especially freshmen, don't know what that is. So we're trying to break it down. And again, textbook, it is very helpful, but not a lot of, hey, here's section this, here are the questions, this test goes with it. So we got to create that. And again, I'm comfortable doing that. I've done it. I've taught social studies for almost 10 years. It's okay. But that's the only thing. And the QR codes, sometimes they're not coming up. So again, you have to supplement with other things that I'm privy to because I've created. Those are the only real kind of things I've kind of noticed in my classroom. And again, BH2, talk about reconstruction. My students are familiar with that concept. Get the big three. They know about Dr. King, but they have no idea about W.B. Du Bois. They know about Malcolm X, but they don't know about Marcus Garvey. So trying to supplement that information and trying to go down to the basics. So I'm hoping that maybe pause, we try to develop and get more resources.
Okay, Mr. Phillips and Dr. Davis, I definitely appreciate your expounding on this, because it gives me a clearer idea of how everybody is seeing kind of the same things. I had to hear from you guys to know, because I see and understand that you enjoy teaching the class. So I wanted to hear exactly what you felt that your misgivings were, or things that could be improved. So thank you very much.
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, thank you. And just to kind of piggyback off what Dr. Ryan King said, I do appreciate the voices of our teachers getting up here and saying how they feel regarding teaching the course and what we could do to be better, because like President Ross said, it is about the kids, it is about the students, and we want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. With that said, it seems like maybe was this committee disbanded after the board voted?
No.
It wasn't?
It's still a committee.
So it seems like somewhere some communication has gotten lost with people that are on the committee to what is actually been presented today. I would recommend in some way, as the teachers create and formulate and develop this curriculum, that the committee is involved and that there is a say-so on what's going to be taught to the students. I also hope that we can get more teachers after doing this curriculum to get the buy-in, like Dr. Karat had mentioned, because to have multiple teachers teaching it at Manual, Peoria High, and Richwoods would just be awesome. So I hope that's the end goal, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works, because We definitely need it, and the board did History 365 as a whole, and I'm looking forward to seeing it implemented.
Thank you. And what you heard tonight described is how we typically do it. The teachers that are teaching it are the teachers that they're skilled in that discipline. They develop the curriculum guides and they add the resources because they're there. They went to school to be social studies teachers, and so they do have the most knowledge. And so I'm really looking forward to next steps and what they will develop to support our students. So thank you.
Yep, for sure, and I'm 100% with the teachers on that. I just do want that committee to be involved in some way, even if it's after the
great.
development, so that the committee is aware of what happened with the overall curriculum. I mean, like you said, you could potentially take out some things and add some things. I think it's prudent to make sure that that committee that's up there knows what changes were made.
Yeah. I would recommend just adding some high school folks on there and then they go at it, and because they've been working well together. We have a lot of individuals from our community who we've committed to, like, this is not going away. We're going to expand on it. We just need to tweak a couple of things and we'll be good to go. So, yes, President, yes, Mr. Wilson, great recommendations. So there's already an existing committee, just add in, like, actually, you know, Dr. Davis, Mr. Phillips, the individuals from Richwoods. Let's get on this committee and perfect it for the better.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I'm a little disappointed because we have worked very hard to try to integrate Black history into American history, which is a problem. It has been a problem ever since I can remember. But since we were not advised or included in your changes, I'm happy to include other people in this. But I happen to also know that from the very beginning, there were some people that said they did not want to teach it, even before they reviewed the book. And so that's a problem. But I look forward to seeing what we can do as far as enhancing that.
And I'll surely keep you updated.
Where are we here? Well, nobody's going to have a problem with that, I'm sure. A TNTP update. Tracy Donovan.
Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, and our Board of Education. I sure do appreciate the opportunity to present to you today on our current progress with TNTP. I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Jennifer Jensen. She is right here. She represents TNTP, and we have collaborated weekly, sometimes daily, over the amazing work that's being done with TNTP and our middle school teachers. So I'm going to let her present on the work that has been done thus far. Thank you very much, Dr. Jensen.
Thank you, and thank you, President Ross and Dr. Karat and board members. It's a pleasure to be here today. I want to reorient you to the goals that we had for our project. And so this year, we've been directly working with 18 math teachers across 7 schools with a primary goal to increase access to strong instruction and really increase student engagement and rigor. We're also working with Tracy and other district personnel around developing systemic supports for all educators and ultimately, of course, increasing student performance and access to algebra. So this is all rooted in the vision that we shared with you earlier, and that vision is right behind you on the board, and I won't take time to read that to you, but what I want you to see as you up there is like, this is what we want your students to be doing in math classes, and it ties so directly to all the other presentations that we've heard tonight around science fair, even around Black history. This ties directly to that around, engaging in those purposeful real-world problem solving, and so everything we're doing is really tied to that vision. If we can go to the next slide. As I said, we are working with the 18 teachers in 7 middle schools. We have gone in with specific metrics to measure our impact with teachers. And so we started off at the beginning of the year observing teachers and using a specific rubric that we have developed and used nationwide. And then we're looking to see an increase in the proportion of lessons offering strong instruction, as well as an increase in lessons focused on grade level content. And we have also surveyed students at the beginning of the year. We'll survey them again around and wanting to know how they're feeling regarding engagement and challenge. So here is some of the results that we have. And I know we're going to go kind of fast on this, but if you take a look, the one thing we talked about was around content on grade level standards. When we came in August, we were at about 53% of classrooms. And the reason for that is we know students need to be remediated, right? But we also believe that we remediate through grade level, grade appropriate instruction and scaffold as needed. And so when we came in January, we were really excited to see that 94% of our classrooms were on grade level. If you take a look, coherence just talks about explicitly connecting new learning to prior learning so that students don't feel like math is all these separate ideas, but that it's really connected. And then we're also, though, especially concerned about the rigor that our students have. And so really understanding what they're doing is what we really want, because we know that that's so critical to problem solving and critical thinking. When we looked at teacher actions, that first column is where we observed teachers around strong instructional practices in August. And as you can see, there's quite a big yellow area where we'd say, not yet. They weren't quite doing those things that are going to push students to realize that vision. But when we went into in January, you can see the strong movement that we made with teachers. And so we're excited because we'll be coming back in May to do a final data collection, and we're expecting to see those numbers grow even more. Then this slide is really around student ownership. What are the students doing in the class? And teachers have to give students the opportunity to own the work and own the thinking in the classroom. And so you can see that, again, we haven't made as much progress there, but that is because that's going to lag what teachers are doing. So we are really excited about this progress, and again, we expect those numbers to go up even more as we collect data again in May. Just some comments and some pictures. You can see students really engaged in different problem-solving activities here, and we have anecdotally principals and teachers saying students are more engaged in word problems. They have the opportunity to collaborate and work through problems. Teachers are really collaborating and communicating and helping each other through this process, and that's also a really exciting thing to see. In terms of next steps and thinking systemically, we're working on creating curriculum maps and pacing guides and encouraging the use of the unit assessments, and then also working to create like a math-specific walkthrough tool so that teachers can get specific feedback from those who walk through their classrooms around what's happening in math. At the same time that we've been working with the teachers in the 18 schools, we've also been working with the Math District Advisory Council, and that particular group of stakeholders from across your district, from kindergarten to high school administrators, they're working on developing a math instructional playbook that will then be rolled out across the district that will have that vision and really speak to the activities that teachers can do in their classroom to really help realize that vision. Part of that group, they're working on resources for students to understand the vision and understand what we want them to take away from math classes. They're working on resources for parents. They're working on resources for educators. So we're really excited about, again, systemically, what that group in your district is doing to support that vision for strong math instruction. This is just a little preview of what it's going to look like. So with your statement of vision, some belief statements, curriculum guidance, instructional moves, pacing guides, the whole works. Hopefully it will be kind of a one-stop shop, but also something that can continually be revised as things in the district change and evolve as well, right? Because we know that education is not static and we're going to keep changing. And so the power of this is it being digital, that we can continue to add to that. So with that, I will leave that there, but that's kind of an update on our work for this year.
It truly has been a pleasure working with TNTP and the partnership that we have. I have learned a lot and then been able to share that with teachers, but the teachers have gotten so much from this process. And being part of the Math Advisory Council has helped them feel like leaders in math instruction in their grade levels, in their schools, and in the district. So any questions? All right, well, thank you for the time today.
Mr. Willis, Organic Life.
Tonight, we are recommending for your approval Organic Life as our food service management services provider for the 23-24 school year. We have here with us tonight to offer just a few comments and mainly to introduce himself. Justin Rolls, who's Chief Operating Officer and also co-owner of Organic Life. While before he makes a couple of comments, I'd like to also introduce our district food service team who worked directly with me to take us through the bid process. Jerry Har, who is our food service and warehouse, stand up Jerry, or wave or something, manager. And he's been in that role, I guess, about a year and a half. And so he was instrumental in the bid process, as was Gabi Klein, our former Director of Food Service and Warehouse, longtime district employee, who now works with us on a consulting basis. And this whole process was kind of all hands on deck, and we wanted to make sure that we delivered. Joe Arvia is also with Organic Life and is here representing the Organic Life tonight as well. And thank you guys for standing. I'll throw it to Justin and let him share with you a few minutes.
Well, first I want to thank the superintendent, board, and administration for giving us this opportunity. Again, my name is Justin Rolls. I'm one of the founding partners and president of Organic Life. A little background on our company: we started the company about 18 years ago, and we were my business partner and I. We were in restaurants. We didn't know a lot about school food service, but we knew it was really bad, and we knew, and pretty much we could look around a room, and everybody in the room said, the food service they had was really bad. And so we didn't understand why it needed to be bad, and we didn't know any better. We were just in restaurants. So in restaurants, we obviously we have guests, and we want to take care of those guests, and we're chef driven, and that's the way that we started the company, and we've done that for the last 18 years. We're a chef driven company. We focus on we look at the students as customers. In restaurants a little bit different. When somebody has a bad meal, you can buy them bring them a glass of wine. Here it's a little bit different, but our philosophy is if the meal isn't very good if there's something wrong on Monday, we want it fixed on Tuesday, because you don't really get a second chance. So that's how we look at everything. And one thing that we've noticed in school food service is it's a lot of out of the freezer into a convection oven and then onto a line. We try to focus on doing a lot more scratch cooking, and we understand that the district is a CP district, but we're in a lot of CP districts, and we do look we do see some opportunities to raise participation, and we look forward to the opportunity. Some questions?
Is now the time for questions?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So, how many on the committee has actually tasted this food? Have you tasted it?
Yeah. We did a site visit at West Aurora.
Okay.
And we were at their high school, 3,700 students, 8 lunch periods. The lunch periods were, 20, 25 minutes each. I timed 4 of them. The students went through the lines in 7 minutes, and they were eating for 15 to 16 minutes. They had an option of a taco station, a pizza station, and I saw racks of 20 or 30 pizzas being handmade. Mm-hmm. And they had burgers, they had a taco, they had pizza station, they had a Asian station, they had fruits and vegetables, drinks, and it ran like clockwork. I've been in the business over 30 years. I'm pretty hard to impress, and I have a pretty good crap detector. This operation was the best I've ever seen.
Okay. Awesome. So the people that's making the decisions, the Board of Education hasn't actually tasted this product yet. And that's what I'm scared of. I don't want to sit here and make a vote that's, on this contract without first tasting the food. I think that's kind of where we get ourselves caught in a pickle, which is why you're here standing in front of us today, right? So I would like to actually taste the food. But I also have some questions as well. I wish there was like a presentation as well, just so I can see kind of some of the stuff that Mick you're talking about, because right now you're just telling me something. But I mean, I would like to see it. And
I actually have in the board packet some of the pictures from our site visit.
I would like it up there because it's more than just us. The community has spoke loud about this food that we have in our system right now. And I know for a fact that every member on this board wants to see better. And I think we deserve a little bit more information than just a quick 5-minute presentation.
Mr. Wilson, I'll have to say that, was it 2 weeks ago when we were in New Orleans? I mean,
Okay. I stood in line for it, but I had to go to another thing. So,
Okay.
yeah, there was. Yep. It was right when you leave out the exhibit hall. Yeah, but I mean, I want to taste it now because it's up for vote.
It's my fault. I should have brought some food with me.
It's no worries. We got it. We got 2 weeks for another board meeting. I just think we should be prudent when making a decision because this is important. I was one of those students that went to bed hungry and woke up looking forward to school lunches. So I don't want to just make a decision without tasting the food.
We understand, and it's a shame that a lot of students who don't have other opportunities to get to eat during the day are still not eating the food because the food is subpar. And,
Absolutely.
and that's something that we've changed ever since we've been in business, and we do focus on a lot of CEP districts, and like I said, and we've in every single situation we've been able to raise participation in CEP districts.
Absolutely, and I have full faith in you, so I'm not trying to, but it's very important to me, and I think as a board, just really listening and understanding what our students are getting. And just for the record, our former food vendor was at that same conference that President Ross brought up, and it looked good from there too. So.
That's
So
that's the problem with
so,
with presentations. It's
Exactly.
everybody's kind of putting their best foot forward. But when we have visits at our schools, you get to see exactly what we're serving.
Okay.
You can't do a presentation at a school when you've got thousands of kids going through a line, and but we can also do a good presentation as well.
Yeah, please do because I'll be inside the schools also checking and making sure I'm that type of board member.
We welcome that, and it's something as well for the teachers and all the faculty. We look to sell lunches to them as well. I mean, we have a captive audience, but yet they're probably going outside to pay 2-3 times as much for food. So we like to put our best foot forward, and we like to partner with the district.
Awesome.
And
Mr. Rose, do you have some references from the other school districts that you've worked with?
Yeah, we do quite a few. In fact, we provided those within the RFP document.
You share that?
We're more than happy if you called each and every one of the districts that we serve because we would get good recommendations from them as well.
I think I'd like to see just kind of the references or some of the other school districts that they work with. I would love to see what they say about the food company as well. Just that's prudent, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, we provided that information within the RFP. and I believe that your folks here had made a few phone calls to those references,
Awesome.
and certainly the school district that we did a walkthrough of. Also, we were walking through with their team as well. So
Sounds good.
one of our references.
Thanks, Justin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just have a question. So this is, we're approving to have just for 1 year, correct? Is that correct? Just 1 year? Is that what we do currently, is 1 year by 1 year? I thought we do like a couple years. Or was this like a trial?
It's 1 year with the option to renew for the next 4 years.
Got it, okay.
And that's how it's typically
Done.
done.
When you get a new one. Okay. My question for Organic Life, how do you address the multitude of allergies that happen in schools across the nation and in our district? Because I know that when our board packet came out, I had lots of community members and parents contacting me worried about, my son or daughter is allergic to sesame seed or to peanuts or to this or to that. So how is that addressed?
Well, first of all, we're completely nut free, just because that's it's a pretty big theme in school districts. So for the last 15 years we've been completely nut free. We also take a look at of things that we're buying, certain convenience items that could be potentially manufactured in facilities that also have nuts, and we've eliminated those as well. And certainly we would take any other precautions as far as gluten-free or any other allergies that there might be. So that shouldn't be a concern. We'll obviously work with the principals to get a list of all the allergies and students that have allergies, and we can work with them.
And I'm assuming, like, in districts you're in now, there's allergy. Like, that's not a unique thing to us.
It's every year it seems to get more and more.
More and more, yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately.
Any other questions? I have a question for Mr. Willis. I believe your company was the lowest bidder, but in Illinois, we do not have to go with lowest bidder. So I'm happy to know that. Were you going to introduce your team? You already did.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to know that even though it was the lowest bid, you're still looking at it as high quality. Is that correct?
That's exactly why we went on the site visit.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make sure that not only in terms of price and the bid process, that they checked all the boxes and dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. We wanted to make sure that whoever we were partnering with could deliver on quality. And otherwise, we would have done the evaluation simply on paper, would not have gone on a site visit, would not have interviewed other school officials, would not have witnessed several operations, would not have literally been in the kitchen where they were making literally everything, and just seeing that whole operation. We took time out to do that because that's an important piece in our food service program.
And so for you, sir, even though you were the lowest bidder, do you still feel that you would be able to provide the service for that bid?
Absolutely, and we look to partner with the district. And one thing, like I had mentioned, we have increased participation in every program that we've ever gone into, and we would look to do the same here as well. And that just helps our program, and that helps make the program more viable. And that's how we bid on the contracts.
Okay.
And I would say, also calling all of our references, if you call all of our competitors and ask them to truthfully tell you who has the best food in the industry, it's our company.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I wanted to know because, I met some of the staff from, I think, Chicago area, and they said the same thing. But I'm so used to having low bids and then change orders. I don't know if that's just for construction or what.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering.
We're gonna work with the district, and we would look for other opportunities in the district, and we'd be happy to cater events and partner with the district any way that we can. We do in a lot of school districts, so we'll do as much or as little as you'd like us to. We've done pizza challenges where we involve the students, specifically in the high schools, where the students can come in and we'll have a class teaching them how to make pizzas. We have a very famous pizza chef in Chicago who come down and work with the kids, and so we'll kind of do like a pizza challenge, and so put the kids on teams and do a taste test and see which one comes out ahead. So we could do as much or as little as the district would like to or allow us to do. So.
Okay, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, thank you. I like how you described that. It sounds like the company really does value the students and the community, which is something that if we were to pass this, that we look forward to doing, is working with Organic Life to make this community better. Also, just want to take time to thank the committee that has put this together, all your hours of going to different schools, tasting the food, things of that nature. Thank you.
And this may be out of school, and Joe, if it is, I apologize. But anecdotally, and just kind of as a final closing note, when we took bids, had the bid opening, went through the process of evaluating bids, all that kind of thing. One of the gentlemen here tonight was with another company and submitted a bid with another company. And Joe is here tonight because Joe was so convinced and impressed by Organic Life that he contacted them. And Joe can work anywhere in the nation and has. He's been around probably in the business as long as I have, and we've crossed paths, and he's quality, first rate, and he can work anywhere. He chose Organic Life. So.
Justin, a quick question for you, Dr. Farad. With the schools that you're currently working, I forgot to ask you, do you currently have any federal grants for fruits? Because I get those emails a lot, and then I send them on to a food service, and they get it. And I think we got, what,
I don't know if we
400?
can hear you. You're gonna move your mic up.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Did you hear the question? Oh, okay. I'll repeat. I forgot to ask. Are you with the school districts that you're in? Were you able to secure any federal grants to provide fruits and vegetables? I know, Mr. Willis, did we get a grant for like $400,000 to infuse vegetables and fruits into a system?
Yes, yeah, we have assisted with the school districts in getting those grants. I can't think of the specific school districts that we worked with, but we have with quite a few. And that's really one thing that we like to focus on is incorporating a lot more fresh fruits and vegetables into the program. I mean, we think it's obviously better for the kids, and that's something that we like to work with, as well as through the commodity program. We're trying to get a lot of DoD dollars and things like that as well, so we can get the fresh fruits and vegetables in place.
Any other questions? Other questions? None? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so presentations by audience. It is now time for the public to have comments at the business meeting of the board. We would ask that you keep your comments respectful, and you have 5 minutes on any one subject. 20 minutes on any one subject, 5 minutes per person. So we have Stacy Burns.
Good evening. It's been a very long meeting this evening. My name is Stacy Burns, and I am a teacher at Tree Win. I've been in District 150. This is my 26th year. Dr. Karat was actually my principal for quite a long time. And I felt it was important to address you tonight with some concerns I have as a classroom teacher as the end of the school year approaches. I am concerned that I have a student that has missed 49% of this school year and is being put into second grade next year. I teach first grade. This student also missed 33% of kindergarten. I am concerned that I have another student that has missed 62% of this school year. We are her second school of this school year and will be moved on to second grade. She also missed 57% of kindergarten. I'm concerned that there is a kindergartner in my building that has missed 41% of this school year and has been tardy an additional 24% of the time. And by tardy, I mean comes at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in a school day, but maybe put in my first grade class next year. I am concerned that this is just a few scenarios of many like this across our district. I'm concerned for the teacher that gets these students next year. Yes, we do small groups, but those groups are meant to fill gaps for the grade that they are in, not to fill gaps of 1 or 2 school years of missed days of instruction. I'm concerned for other students in that classroom. It's not fair that they will lose out with the teacher having to use their energy filling in gaps of this student. I am most concerned for the student that's being pushed on to the next grade year after year. They're already behind and are going to feel isolated and unsure of themselves. They will continue to lose confidence as they fall further and further behind. I've read the research on retention, and in most cases, I am not a supporter. However, these students are examples of students that did not complete the grade that they are in. They are missing the foundation needed to be successful from grade to grade, especially these kindergarten and first graders. I'm coming to you with a ton of experience. I was an interventionist for 3 years, where I spent my entire day working with students that are behind. As a classroom teacher, which I love and will never leave, I know that strategy is needed to move a student forward. However, I cannot do that if they're not in my classroom at school. As an interventionist, I was part of the MTSS committee. I was in PLCs, I worked with small groups, and I was able to help the process by identifying students that needed help academically for a variety of reasons. I also helped assist the teachers with what was needed for growth. Sometimes our interventions led to students needing full evals for an IEP. However, if one of these students needed an IEP, they couldn't be put on the list to be evaluated due to federal guidelines for attendance. As we no longer have these interventionist positions, my job as well as my fellow teachers' jobs are even more challenging than they were before as we try to navigate the ever-growing needs of our students. During COVID years of 1920 and 2021, we all did the best we could. Teachers, students, parents, administrators, those were uncharted waters. All the students were passed on, and we knew that there would be gaps. We are now 2 years past COVID, at least in education, and the same thing is happening. Parents know that if they don't send their students to school, they're still going to be passed on. They know nothing is going to happen. When are the parents going to be held accountable? We feel as if there is no plan on how to handle this situation, even though we have been told that there is a plan in place. Well, it is now the end of April, and I have seen no such plan, but something needs to be done, and that is why I'm here. We have an attendance committee, which I'm a part of, in our school, made up of mostly teachers and administrators. I didn't go to college to figure out how to get students to come to school. I know how to get my own children to school, but I don't know how to motivate my parents to get their kids to come to school. I try all the things: perfect attendance awards, classroom perfect attendance, prizes for weekly perfect attendance, free uniform passes, but my students are 6. They're not responsible for getting themselves to school, their parents are. They want to be at school, they want to see their friends. It's out of their hands. So as a classroom teacher, I am held accountable for my students based on their test scores. Even if that student moved in last week after not being enrolled in any school for 32 days. Even if a student has missed 40% of the school year, that test score will still be put on display for the district to see. We are told to stop making excuses for students, to not being ready for the next grade. This message is discouraging and weighs heavy on our shoulders as teachers. We love our students and love what we do, really love what we do. And it's really just that I want to teach my students. I need them in my classroom. We need our students at school to do that, and if they're not coming to school, then we need a real plan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any response to audience presentation?
It's good to see Ms. Burns again. Good to see you, good to hear from you. We worked together for many, many years at Whittier, did a lot of great work. High poverty, high performance school, and your kids actually attended that school with us as well.
I heard a couple of, so number one, thank you, and I'll pull in Dr. Bell, curriculum team. We'll look at those individual cases because that's what we do on a case-by-case basis, number one. And then I'll have Cheryl and Tom, because we've been looking at the attendance teams by buildings, and I think there's some opportunities there as well. Some things obviously are out of our control, but there's some improvements we can do there. And then I know you have a reading coach / interventionist, so reading recovery, and that she
She works with about 35 students, but two of those examples were in the first
yeah.
and they know the word list we were sent from the curriculum to test my students on those two students.
Right.
Just looking for any students to help. They're there every day or getting to grade level, so.
Yep. And so thank you, like you targeted it, it's like, hey, let's put our heads together and figure out what more we can do. So we'll try everything within our power. And I know, Mr. Wilson, we talked actually right before spring break about getting more parents involved with the PTOs. And so I think that will help as well. It's a challenge, but we won't give up. But thank you for doing what you're doing, and if there are exceptional cases, just email us as well, and we'll look into it. It's good seeing you. Bye-bye.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from, just went away, March 13th, 2023?
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions or comments on this? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell? Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Information items, superintendent's update.
Thank you, President Ross. I had a number of items, but because of time, Ms. Donath, I'll just pick one that I think is of most important to me. Let's share with the board and the community around algebra for all 8th graders and the plan for that. Thank you.
My voice won't carry from my seat, so thank you for allowing me to come back to the podium tonight. We are looking at an ambitious initiative to support our mathematics students. We are looking for the opportunities for all of our 8th grade students to take Algebra 1 while still at the middle school. Currently, we have students get the opportunity to take Algebra 1 based on NWA test scores, based on principal and teacher recommendations for how they've performed in their classes. And with that current structure, students need to, in their 8th grade year, do 45 minutes of 8th grade math and then 45 minutes of Algebra 1 every day in order to accommodate that plan. It has been successful. We currently have approximately 115 students in Algebra 1 as 8th graders across our district. Many of those students have in-person instruction. Some of those students have virtual instruction with an Algebra 1 teacher at the high school, manual high school. The new plan that we would like to implement allows all students the opportunity to have in-person Algebra 1 instruction. So it doesn't matter. Currently, if you don't have enough students at your school to fill a classroom of Algebra 1 students, you have to have that instruction through virtual options, which we lived through COVID. We understand the challenges of virtual instruction. Our students are doing amazing, and I will tell you, Ms. Wendell, who is our Algebra 1 teacher at Manual, she does a fantastic job of trying to reach her students. She visits their schools. She really tries to make a connection with them. But there's really nothing better than in-person classroom instruction. So with that having been said, we are wanting to implement a plan to transition our school to full 8th grade Algebra 1 implementation within the next year. So if that plan were to carry through, next year, we would still have a group of students doing virtual Algebra 1 instruction. Those would be this year's 7th grade students, because next year they would do the virtual Algebra 1 instruction. We've already enrolled students in that. Approximately 150 students right now would be in that group, that cohort. However, the rollout for the new plan would start with next year's 7th graders. So next year's 7th grade students would actually have the opportunity to do math instruction with a combined 7th and 8th grade curriculum in 1 year. So rather than doing 45 minutes of 8th grade and 45 minutes of 9th grade, which is our current design, next year when we roll this out, our 7th graders would get 90 full minutes of math instruction on a topic, but over the course of the year, they would cover the standards for 7th grade math and 8th grade math, so that they would be prepared for 8th grade Algebra 1 at the middle school, in-person instruction for all. This certainly allows opportunities for our students to succeed and gives some students the opportunity to take Algebra 1 that might have been missed with our current protocol. Because, like I said, we look at students with high NWA scores and we look at recommendations by teachers and parents, but maybe there's some students out there that we're missing. So this would catch all of them, and some students would really surprise us, I'm certain. It also allows, by doing it this way, students who would get a C or higher in Algebra 1 as an 8th grader would be able to take geometry as a freshman at the high school. Doing that accelerates their math pathway so that they can get access to some of those higher level math classes that currently are only available to a few kids because they have to get certain courses in. High school graduation requirements require Algebra 1, they require a course with geometry content, and we have Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2 is a traditional pathway, and then courses veer off from there. Very few kids ever get the chance to take AP Stats or pre-calculus because of the pathway they typically fall on, which would be Algebra 1 as a freshman, and so on. So doing it this way gives another year of math opportunities for our students at the high school level and gives them access to high-level math instruction as pre-calculus and AP Stats, which right now is limited in the number of students that can take that course. This would require a significant amount of effort as far as making sure our students were prepared for that level of rigor. We need to have high expectations for our students, and I know everyone in this room does. We definitely need our students to feel that we do. And allowing them the opportunity to do this sets the bar very high, and I know that they can meet that expectation. We need our teachers to have a high level of training to support that work, because many of our middle school teachers, whether they be first-year teachers or have been teaching for many, many years, many of them have not taught Algebra 1. They're capable, they'll be amazing at it, but they do need some additional training on how we can support our mathematics students at the middle school with visual representations with symbolic, like the way we normally see math, right? With variables, numbers, symbols that represent equations. They need to be able to see it many ways. And we will need to train and support our teachers to make that happen. Other districts that have done initiatives like this have spent a significant amount on teacher training to make this happen. So part of our partnership to allow this opportunity to happen is to ask for the board to continue our TNTP participation next year for all middle school teachers in every middle school in the district. Right now we have 7 schools represented with 18 teachers getting this amazing training. We would like to expand that exponentially to allow our teachers to feel supported, allow our students to feel supported, and provide equity of access to math instruction for all. That was a very long, drawn-out answer. I hope I hit everything, Dr. Karat.
You did very, very well. I wanted to thank you for being the thought partner with us around the idea of really opening the invitation and opening the gate as well, because we all know algebra is the gatekeeper to college and graduating and so forth. So we're lucky we have a partner in TNTP that's worked with you now for 2 years. Our teachers, they have a great relationship, and I think the opportunity is right to give this a chance and provide more opportunities for our students. And as you said, more supports for our staff, our teachers, and then ultimately we also talked about Friday, more conversation with our parents as well. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I have a question. So, okay, so seventh and eighth graders
Yes.
will be taking Algebra 1? No, eighth graders?
Great question. So fifth graders would take regular fifth grade math.
No, I said,
I know, I'm
okay.
just doing the path. Here's the path. So fifth graders would take regular fifth grade math. Sixth grader would take regular sixth grade math, because those are some foundational math standards that need to be very strongly understood, like rates and proportions and ratios and things that sixth grade does that is very unique to their grade to support future learning. Seventh graders would take a combination seventh and eighth grade math course. So they would do the very important strands and standards of seventh grade math and eighth grade math. Our math curriculum that we have purchased for the middle school and high school was Savis Envision Mathematics. They have an accelerated 7 book, which covers the 7th and 8th grade math standards in 1 year with a very aggressive scope and sequence. But there is a book with workbooks like the students have already been accustomed to using in the middle school that aligns with the curriculum needs to make that happen.
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade would take Algebra 1.
Algebra 1.
Yes.
Oh, do you have any more questions?
No.
So the question is, if the 8th grade is going to take Algebra 1, which is normally taught by the ninth grade,
Yes.
Algebra 1.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss what 9th graders were going to be doing?
Ninth graders would take geometry, which is the next in the cycle of coursework. So they would take the next math class, which would be geometry. Students who are not successful in Algebra 1 as 8th graders would get the opportunity to retake Algebra 1 at the high school.
Okay.
And when I say not successful, I mean getting a D or F in the course as 8th graders.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I had a question just on the superintendent update, if I could. We recently lost our Derek Booth, who was the SEL director. Could you just kind of explain a little bit of the process that as we move forward, just for the board and just for the community in general, on what we are going to do to ensure that our SEL remains intact and continues to be effective?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I've gotten a few questions throughout regarding that. So it was definitely an opportunity for us to reorganize. And I think I've had a conversation with board members as well around that, to just reorganize our work. When I opened up the department in 2015, there was a need for an SEL director. I opened up the department. Great work have been done. Since then, we've learned a lot. There's a lot more traumatic situations and a lot more need on the school side, which I believe is, and based on what I've seen, is overwhelming on that director. So this gave me an opportunity to split that position. So for the time being, and then, we had that quick turnaround, so we had to fill the position because as a board, this department and the community actually as well, the director of social emotional, that's very, very important. It's filling the needs, a variety of needs, from food pantry, the wraparound center, counseling, all sorts of supports, respite, all sorts of support. So, again, what I did is reconfigured it. So there is a community SEL side and a school SEL side. And we will continue to sort of implement that and see how that goes. And so, yeah, but we're really excited. There's a lot of work happening already on the SEL school side. There is, I think I talked to a couple of you around the action teams, how it's involving teachers from every building, their kids and parents involved as well, looking at embedding social emotional into teaching and learning. We have to do better at that, giving kids voice. There's an action team for that, MTSS. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And Dr. Bond is actually leading that work. She asked to lead that work enthusiastically. She's working with the union and the teachers, and maybe what we'll do next board meeting is give the board an update on just what we have done so far just on the SEL school side, which needed a lot of work. We need to get curriculum in there. We have Lions Quest. When I talk to the principals, there's a lot of frustration with it. So there needs to be conversation and selection around, because kids need to be taught those castle, the castle goals, things like, you get upset, how do you, self-awareness, conflict resolution, how do you behave when there are conflicts. There are like 5 castle components that really, I would say, need to be taught explicitly to every kid in every class on an ongoing basis. And I think that will ultimately help with our discipline numbers, suspension numbers, and so forth. We're looking at meditation, bringing those, at least the committee is. So it's really actually very, very exciting. So we miss Dr. Booth, but we're happy, it's a big promotion for him. And then it was just really an opportunity to split it, so that, because there's a lot that's happening on the community side. And there's a lot, so there are 2 separate individuals doing that work.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, could I expound on that? I only heard you mention the school side. I mean, if we're going to have a presentation, we need to have the complete presentation on what's going on within them. And I don't know if that answered your question. So it is still going to be a split position?
Yes, it is a split position, and the community side, they're doing something totally different. There is, the game changer piece. There is, elite.
That is Dr. Bell.
That's Dr. Bell is doing that. So there is justice advocates, and actually we have a presentation. He'll be working on his communities, and their list of Dr. Bell you sent. Well, the assistant Kelly Phipps sent all of the partners. I think there were 20 partners. One of the things we talked about, I spoke with a group last week. They would like a presentation in terms of, and the board has gotten that presentation before, numbers, the impact that they've made, number of individuals served, and for each group, like Family Core and those sorts of things. I moved some things around. Children's Home, Children's Home, I believe, is on the school side because of the therapists. So I took that away from the community side, but there's still quite a bit of partners and groups, President Ross, that he's working with.
Okay.
So yeah, his presentation is
what
also.
We need more. We want the community to take
we need to be,
responsibility
yep,
and
we need
to partner with us, I'm sure.
And I would like that side as well to
to be increased, like regular meetings with them. Andrea Parker, for example, we had a conversation with the in-school health clinics and doing more and, different groups. And she told me she's part of that group that you're working with, Dr. Bell. So, yeah, it's trying to manage the work because it's huge. And we want individuals to be able to wrap their arms around it and still have a huge impact and make adjustments when necessary.
Yeah, I was wanted to make sure on the school side, when we got the presentation, there was not any parents involved, and so wanted to make sure that we involve parents on both sides because they're the ones that's going to really push other parents to get involved as well. So
We'll make that happen.
anything else? A financial update next. Budgeted, encumbered.
Revenue for through April 24th, and since our last meeting was about $19 million more than what we reported on March 10th. Most of that was state aid, evidence-based funding, and corporate personal property replacement taxes. On the spending side, we were 22 million more in terms of expenditures than we were when we reported on March 10th. That's mainly salary, benefits, and then some accounts payable. Year to date, we're still running better than budget. We typically, and we're starting to hit that time of year now, the disbursements that you'll see probably May, June, or be heavier than they were during the year. We still think that we'll end up better than budget, but right now we're right on pace to have a year that at least meets what we projected in the budget draft that you approved in September.
Okay. Any questions on this? Okay, so on the financial updates, and this probably doesn't fit there, but I do want to ask this question. Our last audit identified some issues relating to I'm trying to think of the word.
Reconciliation?
Reconciliation of P cards for some people that have those. Have you had any advancement on that? 'Cause
We've had several.
They were very concerned about that.
Yes, we've had several follow-up conversations with principals, with cabinet, and with some specific locations and departments. And we'll continue to follow up on that to resolve that issue for the audit results 22-23 fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we have been having some conversations around those.
Okay.
Yes.
When do you anticipate really getting some resolution to it?
Yes.
I say, when do you anticipate getting some resolution to the P card issue?
When we review the audit this time next year, our hope and plan is to not have any audit finding in that report as that relates to P cards.
Yeah, I understand that, but are you gonna wait a whole year? Yeah.
That's the thing that we'll use to judge our work. We've had conversations and sent out information to cabinet, to principals, to specific buildings around that issue where we needed to triage that issue. That will continue not for the next week or 2 weeks. It'll continue henceforth. Okay. So it's something we'll keep talking about and addressing.
Yeah. President Ross, Carla, is Jasa here?
She is the one that is doing
Right.
is asking for paperwork.
Correct.
So to answer more directly,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I wanted to think.
Paperwork is coming in at this time.
Thank
She
you.
is reviewing it. And Joe Laundry has to look at each and every transaction that goes through and enter it in the system now. So I feel like, yes, we have it rectified.
Yes.
As Mick said, that yes, and that we were working with the schools to explain the importance.
And that was part of the findings and recommendations also from that external, from the Grossies, getting the paperwork. And so that's what I wanted to hear for the president. Okay.
And I'm asking because
Thank
as
you.
president, I was contacted directly from the audit firm too, with the issues that, were brought to light. So I'm just. Okay. Thank you. The questions? Any questions? Okay. Proposed expenditures over $2,500. Did anybody have any questions on those? Being none. A report of request under the Freedom of Information Act and the status of such request.
Thank you, President Ross. Since our board meeting on March 13th, we have received 3 new requests. Of these new requests, 2 have been closed, and then there were 2 pending requests noted on March 13th. Of these, 0 remain open, and there is 1 request currently open. So to date, we have received 69 requests for this calendar year at a cost of $3,450. Thank you.
Okay. Action items, consent agenda. Vice President Murphy.
Thank you, President Ross. Number 1, gifts to school district year-to-date, $78,374.42. Number 2, payment of bills. Number 3, payment for travel. Number 4, human resource report. Number 5, Annie Jo Gordon Community Learning Center 8th grade field trip. Number 6, addendum to fiscal year 23 Advantage Communications Middle School Speech and Debate Team Contract. Number 7, Advantage Communications Middle School Speech and Debate Team Contract fiscal year 24. Approval, number 8, approval of Woodruff students to ProStart National Competition in Washington, D.C. Number 9, approval of intergovernmental agreement with Peoria Educational Region for Employment and Career Training. Number 10, Richwoods High School MCJROTC overnight trip. Number 11, approval of iSteam Studio LLC contractual services for spring intercession. Number 12, canvass of election return. Number 13, Community Health Awareness HPV Pilot Project at Tree Wind School. Number 14, purchase of used vehicles for the Transportation Department. Number 15, fiscal year 2024 agreement between Illinois Central College and Peoria Public School District. Number 16, Annie Jo Gordon Splash Pad Project. Number 17, Food Service Management Company contract for 2023-2024. Number 18, non-reemployment of a part-time educational support personnel for the 2023-2024 school year, Kristen Leisman. This action item has a companion resolution. Number 19, meeting dates for the Board of Education fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Number 20, settlement agreement with Jewel Labs Incorporated. Number 21, approval of Envision 7th grade accelerated math materials. Number 22, approval of copier lease. And number 24, approval of TNTP contract to improve access and equity in math classrooms. And that is the end of the consent agenda.
You do number 23? Math?
Mhm.
Okay, I missed that. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so, are there any numbers that any board member would like to pull for a separate vote? Yes, ma'am.
23.
23?
And mine will be 17.
17? Was that just 17?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any others that would like to pull for a separate vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda except for item 23 and 17?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved in second. Any questions or comments on any of those topics? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell? Just absent. Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Number 17, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, I had just a couple more. Is what's his name? Justin? Is he on the phone or?
No, he's on his way back to Chicago.
Oh, okay. He already left. Okay. Then I guess I can $3.8 million for this contract. The majority of our students are not satisfied with the food service that they are currently getting, so we're looking to change that. I do believe that, as a board, one of the things that we failed to do is actually put ourselves in our students' shoes or put ourselves in our teachers' shoes sometime, or anyone else that's out there working in the field. I think it'd just be prudent to taste the food that we would vote on for $3.8 million, and something that's very important right now as far as what our students would be receiving on a daily basis. So I would like to kind of table item number 17 just until next board meeting. Let us taste the food that they have. Let us review those references that we didn't get to see. I think it'd be prudent to look and see what other districts have to say as well about the food service, and I look forward to working with them. Those are some of my reasonings behind wanting to table item number 17.
Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Any other questions to table?
Correct.
It's moved in second to table. I personally was going to support it, but I'll go with the majority because we have 1 year, and I have had the experience of the food just on a display manner. But what's the pleasure of the board? Would you call the roll on the motion to table? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
are
just
you
until next board
planning
meeting.
on traveling there?
No, they're going to travel to us and provide us with food at the next board meeting. That's what Mr. Justin Rose had said he'll do.
I didn't hear him say that, but.
Yeah, he said he was going to provide us with the experience. Is that correct, Mr. Willis?
I can arrange that.
Cool,
Yeah,
thank you, appreciate that.
Mr. Willis, is there a timeline to impact it here as far as the vote? Can we wait till next board meeting, or
That
this is a bid that, okay. go
Yeah,
ahead.
we still, the April, everything is easier if it's done tonight, for sure.
In April.
Because there's a lot of activity between now and July 1, making that transition. So we do make it 2 weeks more of a challenge because we're at the end of a school year, and it's harder. But can it be done? Yeah, it's just a lot harder if we do it in 2 weeks than tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. And my concern is it may be harder for the adults, but it may be even harder for the students if we bring in someone that, the students don't like the food again, and we're just back in the same spot. So thank you for clarifying that within the next 2 weeks, we will be fine, and they can come and provide us with a sample of their experience.
But I want to say that I know you had a team that went to all these places, and I do trust your team.
I do as well. That's why I kind of told you guys, thank you for, but the team is the team. It's not myself. Mm-hmm.
Saying, however, what we're saying is that, okay, the majority wise of our audience are children, are students, okay? So our palate is much different than their palate. We may like it, and the kids love it. So
And I was in the schools. I just did a tour of the schools, and that was the first question I asked: who likes the food? And none of them said they liked the food.
That's
So
why,
I'm
that's
going
why
off
we
of-
put it out for bid, because they
Yeah,
didn't like the
exactly.
food.
Yeah.
But
So now I want to taste the food that they're going to receive. Like 2 weeks allowing me to taste the food, us as a board, the food, and the food for $3.8 million. I would love for Justin to stay and hear questions, but he's not here. But I don't think that's a bad thing when we're looking for providing food for our district at this price.
I'm not disagreeing to it. I'm just saying that what we may like, the children may not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's all
I
I'm
think I
saying.
could. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, because just you and I as adults,
Mhm.
I don't like the same food you like.
Yeah, for
Okay?
sure, for sure. I think I
So,
can.
I don't, you know.
I think it would benefit me at least.
And I can patch Justin in via cell phone if we need to, so.
Okay.
I don't think he would had to stay because why would he? He didn't know he had any more questions. We asked.
I don't know. Most people stay when you have something on the contract. I mean, and we're about to vote for it just in case there's any additional questions that need to be asked for it, especially for $3.8 million.
Dr. Rankin, you had yours at first.
Yeah, I am indifferent. Like, I will go with the majority of the board. I think this is probably a good deal. But I can see where Board Member Wilson is coming from because we are accountable to the community. And if we vote on 3.8 million and the people who are actually voting on it haven't tried it and said, yes, we all have different palates. We all eat really spicy food before here, and we all talk about how we all have different spice levels, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't tell the community we've tried it. We know what it looks like. We know what it's, we know what the experience is. So again, I'm indifferent. If it went before the board tonight, I would vote yes. I'm okay with holding it for 2 weeks. It's probably going to have the same outcome for me, but I can see where you're coming from for that.
Get your hand.
Well, and then just maybe as a suggestion towards both of those options, what if we brought some of the students in to taste it and let them try it and say, hey, I like this pizza, like he said, or the taco bar, or whatever. If he wants to bring in maybe just a small sample, let a couple of I have 4 kids in this district that'd probably be happy to come in here and try some food. So, but if you wanted to bring in a couple students, you could always bring in some to get a student perspective too.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Vice President Murphy. I have 3 that can join your 4.
Yeah, we got enough for a buffet in here pretty soon.
So I'm just thinking of the bid process, maybe the
I mean,
lesson.
if you
for-
don't like it, then we have to stay with the one that we have now. If the adults don't like it, let's put it like that.
I think students too. Vice President Murphy just recommended students coming, so I think we could put that together as well.
What was your question?
Just, that should have probably been part of the bid process?
I'm sorry.
It was. They went to visit the schools.
Right.
It was part of the bid
Right.
process.
The board
Maybe
tasting,
next
the
time
board
ask the
sampling,
board members to go with
the
you.
board sampling the food.
Yeah, let the board members go with you. So, okay, let's just take a vote on it. I mean, they want to table it, that's fine.
And you can make arrangements for everything to be done.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Costick?
Aye.
Wait,
Dr.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Can we just be clear on what we're voting for? So we're voting on a motion to table until the next board
Until the
meeting?
next board meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
For the record, I want.
I think she has it, right? You have it, right? Dr. Rankin?
Yes. Tammy, this isn't a consensus.
Well, we're not getting consensus. Okay, go ahead,
We're
Cammie.
voting on the
I'm thinking we're getting consensus. Do you want to?
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mr. Kloss?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, number 23.
I am completely in agreement with this. The only reason I need to pull it is because, in full disclosure, I talked with the lawyers beforehand. I work for TNTP, and therefore I need to abstain from voting on this. So that's the only reason I pulled it.
Second?
Can I get a second on that?
Second.
A motion and a second.
So moved.
I can't make a motion for it.
Motion. I got a second.
Well, so move.
So moved. And then
Okay, thank you. Any questions other than what Dr. Rankin had brought up? Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Abstain.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 5 ayes, motion carries.
Deliberation agenda policy, couple of different, 4 different policies. Who's doing policy, right?
You want me to read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Item number 24, policy number 5:120, employee ethics, code of professional conduct, and conflict of interest. Read them all? Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Proposed action that the Peoria Board of Education approve the attached updated policy on employee ethics, code of professional conduct, and conflict of interest.
Do I have a second? Second. Any comments? Would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Number 25.
Thank you, President Ross. Item 25, policy number 7:310, restrictions on publications, elementary schools, proposed action that the Peoria Board of Education approve the attached updated policy on restrictions on publications, elementary schools.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Item number 26, policy number 7:315, restrictions on publications, high schools. Proposed action that the Peoria Board of Education approve the attached new policy on restrictions on publications, elementary schools.
It should be high school, shouldn't it? We already did elementary
High schools, yep. Good
As
catch.
amended then.
Good catch. So I should say as amended, high schools.
Second.
Any questions? You call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Expulsions with expulsions held in abeyance. Who's doing expulsion? Are you, Mike?
Sure. Okay. 27, what was it? Okay. Number 27.
27.
Expulsion with the expulsion to be held in abeyance.
Any questions? Okay, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Revocation of expulsions, next.
Okay, number 28, revocation of expulsion held in abeyance.
Been moved in second. Any questions? Would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Number 25, expulsion.
Second.
Any questions? If not, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Number 30, suspension, review, and appeal.
Any questions? Moved in second, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
6 ayes, motion carries.
Presentations and suggestions by board members. Are there any presentations, suggestions by board members?
Yeah.
You have one.
Yep. A question for the policy committee. Are we anywhere with the I don't know what it's called. I want to say location, but that's not the word. It's almost 10 o'clock. With the residency, that's the word. All right. Have the policy, is there a policy to move forward to bring to the committee, to bring to the full board yet?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rankin, for that question. So me and Paris McConnell have fielded input from yourself and Chase regarding the residency policy. And we are continuing to work together to see how that could, work to present to the full board. So I think we should have something. It's going to get a little bit more perfected at this next policy meeting, to the point where at that point in time, it may come to the board. So we're actively working on it.
Reports from board committees. Dr. Rankin.
The behavior committee, we moved our May 4th meeting to June 1st, and it will be virtual and or in a room somewhere in this building. Just watch your email.
Building and Grounds will meet on May 17th at 1:30 p.m. via Teams. Thank you.
A policy committee is to be determined right now. I will have a date and we will make sure to send out notice.
Thank you. Mr. Klaus? Be determined? Okay. All right, any other board committees? None? Mike, you're on what? Okay, great. Okay, if there's nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn?